Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. This is Ascension Tarot, and in today's Pick a Pokemon reading, we are actually going to be getting messages from your higher self. So the title of this video is This Message is Meant to Find You, but the topic that we're specifically doing is we're just looking at whatever is going on in your current energy, and then we're seeing what your higher, more evolved self has to say about it, getting you guidance and also getting guidance from the universe, your spirit guides, spiritual team, whatever it is that you believe in. But we have 4 piles to choose from today. Starting with pile 1, we have the Threads of Fate Tarot and this Black Obsidian Charmander. And then for pile 2, we have the Mystical Dream Tarot and this Howlite and Red Jasper Pokeball. Yes, I know that a Pokeball is not a Pokemon, but it holds Pokemon, so you can theoretically pretend that any Pokemon is in there, like, you know, Vulpix or Clefairy or Danny DeVito. I mean, Danny DeVito is not a Pokemon, but like, I mean, you can let your imagination run wild. I imagine Danny DeVito would be a really amazing Pokemon. Anyway, with pile 3, we have the Apparition Tarot as well as this green Aventurine Bulbasaur. And then finally for pile 4, we have the Ascension Tarot with this Opalite Pikachu. Now, if you've never clicked on a pick a card reading before, I'll quickly explain how they work. So there are 4 different readings here, and in each reading I'm first going to read your current energy. So if the energy does not sound like you, then that is likely not your reading. I would try a different pile, but if you find that none of the piles resonate with your energy, then this is likely not. The algorithm probably said this message was meant to find you instead of there actually being a message meant to find you. But I wanted to leave this open and hopefully get messages out to people even if they don't typically follow tarot. So if this is out of your comfort zone, thank you so much for being here, and I ask that just stay open-minded. You may find, you know, that this stuff is more useful than you thought, but if it has no use, of course, only take what resonates and discard the rest. Because it is a general reading, remember that not everything may 100% resonate because there's a lot of different energies that I am reading. It's important to be aware and discerning of what is yours and what is not. But there really is no right or wrongs. You are allowed to be drawn to more than one pile. At the end of the day, you are in control here. You have free will. You can listen to as much or as little as you want. You can listen to the entire video, or you can listen to half of a reading if you find that's all you need. Just, this is here for your benefit, to help you receive some sort of information that you've likely either been seeking or didn't even realize that it could benefit you. But yeah, I am going to stop blabbing now. So when it comes to picking a pile, you can pick based upon the deck, you can pick based upon the stone, you can pick based upon whichever one you feel most drawn to. I would encourage you to pick the pile that you feel most drawn to, like with your gut, rather than the one that's the most visually pleasing to you. Like a certain pile may catch your eye first, but then you may find that you feel more energetically drawn to another. That's an excellent example of where you can watch both. And if the beginning resonates with you, then that's a sign that that message probably is for you. But if the beginning doesn't resonate, then you can X that one out and try a different one, or so on and so forth. But I'm going to finish explaining this now, and I will go ahead and see you in your reading. So once you have picked your pile or piles, you can scroll down to the description box or the comment section, where I will have the timestamps listed for each reading below. And once you have picked your pile, I will see you in your reading. Hi there, pile 1. Thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose the Obsidian Charmander and the Threads of Fate Tarot, this is going to be your reading. But to make sure this is your reading, we are going to get a look at your energy. and see what's going on so that we know what your higher self is giving advice on when we get into that portion of the reading. So if this resonates, congrats, you found the right pile. If it doesn't, I would try a different pile. And if you can't find any messages that resonate, there probably isn't one for you in this video. So let's go ahead and start by looking at your overall energy. So to start, we have the Warrior, and we have the heart chakra with inner child. And then looking at your external energy, we have the observer, security with the root chakra, the weight of truth, and the tarantula, which is a fire energy. And then looking at your internal energy, we have patience, we have the heart eater, we have the turtle, and we have the crown chakra with oneness. So I'm gonna note that now. We have both the root and the crown, and we have the heart in the middle. So from what I can see here, definitely what's going on in your present energy is there's kind of a death of self going on, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting, but you're really fighting it, if I'm gonna be honest. So I want to start with the Warrior card here, because I think that this is the predominant energy that you're truly in, and also the energy that I think both helps protect you and also helps keep you stuck in your comfort zone. So I guess it's not helping you in that case, it's maybe more so hurting you. But essentially from what I can see here is I think that you are the type of person who, I mean, like in general, is kind of a fighter. And I think that you probably take a lot of pride in these qualities, maybe to your detriment at times. Maybe you're extra stubborn, or you are willing to go to the ends of the earth to prove a point. But I also think this is something that you're affected by when you start to realize that maybe there's something wrong internally. Not that there is like tons of things wrong with you or anything, but I think that you're kind of aware of the fact that you're fighting either feelings in general, or you're fighting your emotional body. The fact that we have the inner child coming up here with the heart chakra probably goes to show that you either struggle to be present in an emotional way, or you probably are just uncomfortable with emotions in general. And I think what you're maybe unaware of right now is that your emotional body is kind of wreaking havoc within you, because you're unwilling to sit with it and you're constantly fighting it. So ways that you can be fighting this is you might be relying on substances or escapist behaviors to kind of escape any uncomfortable emotions that you may experience. But also you may do reckless things in order to stop feeling those emotions. Like, for example, if you get a specific emotion that triggers you, you may be around other people or make an excuse to hang out with your friends or something like that. Anything for the distraction, anything for the like relief of having to feel things. And so what I want to commend you on pile one is that truthfully, your ability to not to resist energy that you don't want to experience is quite impressive. But that actually kind of hurts you more than it helps you, because instead of surrendering to an energy you're trying to experience, you're just prolonging the process of allowing that energy to come through and flow through you. So from what I can see here, having the inner child card come up, I definitely think that your inner child is kind of screaming at you right now. To be acknowledged, to be seen by you, to be told it's safe, to be told it's okay. And the thing is that you may not feel like you're safe or okay in your present world. And one thing that I'm hearing is that when it comes to your inner child, I think that a lot of you either had really traumatic experiences in your childhood, or maybe you're kind of ashamed or kind of like dissociated from your childhood self for whatever reason. And I think that you may be afraid of anything that makes you feel like a child again. In fact, there may be a specific person that, and if not a specific person, just people in general, that bring you back into your more childlike, fun, carefree energy. And I think that that really scares you because you don't feel like you can adequately protect yourself when you are experiencing those things. And while it may be very exciting and very freeing in the moment, I think that you reflect back and realize, oh, I was so vulnerable in that moment. Like I could have gotten hurt, or like when really you could have just been doing something fun, like hanging out with a friend or going on a date or something like that. And it's something totally normal, something totally that you're allowed to do, but maybe something that you haven't been allowing yourself, maybe out of shame or out of fear. Because I do think that maybe as well, there's a lot of shame that you've accumulated from either your childhood or just from your family in general. There could have been really intense family expectations placed on you, or you could just feel like a strong need to prove yourself, a strong need to prove that you are strong. And you may feel like emotions take away from your ability to be strong, which I'm just gonna say right off the bat is not true. It's actually really strong and really fucking hard to like feel your emotions and actually allow yourself to feel things. But I think that you've been going about life in this very like, everything will be fine. Like just go with the status quo, just fight the uncomfortable feelings, and like they will dissolve on their own. And I think that you're getting to a point where you're like, shit, like this isn't going away. This issue of my heart space is not going away. And when I talk about your heart space, you know, this really doesn't have to do with relationships with others. This has everything to do with your relationship with yourself. I think that you are very uncomfortable with embracing the vulnerable parts of yourself. And so the vulnerable parts of yourself still exist, but they're not able to be seen by your conscious mind. So as a result, it's often through triggers that you are redirected to look at your inner child. And it kind of creates this cycle where you're avoiding these emotions, you're avoiding this energy, and then something triggers it to make you face it. And then you're like, oh, hell no, I'm not doing that right now. I'm fighting that. And so not only are you fighting the trigger, but then you're also fighting the purpose of the trigger, and then using things or people or places, whatever it may be, whatever distractions you need to fight whatever information your emotions are trying to give you. And I do think that you are a very logical person for some of you. For others, I just think that you can be intuitive, you can be very spiritual, and maybe like one aspect of spirituality that you're struggling with is maybe you have been growing a lot spiritually, but you're not able to integrate your emotional body quite yet. So what I'm kind of seeing here is on the outside, I think you're trying to observe your emotions, but I think that whenever you feel emotions, you just feel unsafe. And I think that there are a lot of emotions that you've been either fighting or neglecting, or waiting for them to go away, and maybe they aren't. Because with the Patience card here and the Weight of Truth and the Observer, I definitely think that you're not wanting to witness the emotional things you're experiencing, because then it becomes more real. And so I think that you like to keep your focus on the material world, the things you can control, your job, your home, your bag, your money, your finances. But there's an energy here with the tarantula that it's like you can't fully be on your life path when you're neglecting your emotional body. And so it's like you're trying to align yourself with what your soul knows is right, with what your soul, with the path that your soul wants to go down. And there's this energy that's holding you back, and it's truthfully your warrior energy, because your warrior energy is fighting off the necessary changes or the necessary things that you need to pay attention to in order to integrate this heart energy, this inner child energy. Because from what I can see, your inner child desperately wants to be seen by you. It wants to be told that it's okay and that it's safe with you. It wants to be told that you're going to protect it. And the thing is that you are very protective of yourself, but I don't think you consciously tell yourself, like, I am safe, I can protect myself, I can do X, Y, Z. And so you may be feeling like this energy is energy that's trying to break you, when in reality, this energy is trying to help you come back into yourself as a more complete version of yourself than you already are. And from what I can see here internally, to start off, we have oneness with the crown chakra. And so I can definitely see where you're recognizing the fact that either you've gone through some sort of intense spiritual awakening recently, or you've been integrating this understanding of oneness, whether you're spiritual or not. You're kind of having this realization that you're so much more than a singular identity, that you're so much more than what people say you are. And with this oneness, you're recognizing that you are part of the universe, and there is a piece of you in everyone, and there's a piece of everyone in you. You may be working to try to find similarities between others and yourself to feel more connected to others, because with this warrior energy here, you may fight the desires to the desire to feel at one with others. So for example, like, you may have a hard time differentiating, like, you as an individual and you and your energy being part of a collective. Let's take that. So like, for example, when you come to these tarot readings, you might be like, how the hell can this resonate for everyone? Like, which that's a whole tangent in of itself, but you may just be struggling with the concept of, like, how can I allow myself to be one with the universe when I don't feel safe to be a part of it, when I feel like I have to be on defense, when I feel like I have to be protecting myself. And I think one thing that you're really struggling with is the fact that you may not be fully participating in life right now, because if you're not in your comfort zone, then you don't feel safe enough to experience things, to be present. And so what I'm seeing here is you're trying to outlast this energy. You're trying to let this energy dissipate. But from what I can see here, this energy is not going anywhere. And in fact, it's only going to get more intense the more you avoid it. And what I can see here with the Heart Eater is, like, you may feel these emotions of vulnerability or whatever the emotions may be, and you're just trying to suppress them, you're trying to fight them, you're trying to eliminate them. And you might be in this energy of, like, okay, well, if I wait long enough, surely they have to disappear. But I think with this turtle energy, you're starting to realize, like, oh wow, like, I really can't avoid this anymore. Like, it's not going anywhere, and it's just kind of growing over time. And whatever it is this energy going on within your emotional body, whatever your inner child is trying to tell you. Truthfully, I think this has a lot to do with love, not like romantic love. It could be romantic love, but I think the biggest thing it has to do with love is just how you love yourself. And I think a lot of you that pick this pile would probably admit that you either don't love yourself at all, or you really struggle to do things out of self-love or do things out of love in general. I think that you judge yourself really hard, and I think that you are very, very, very critical of yourself. And it's like you don't allow yourself to be human. And it's kind of ridiculous. Like, you need to allow yourself to be human and to make mistakes. And I think one thing that you're kind of having to confront at this time is the fact that, you know, you can't just go through life in a very stoic manner, in a very emotionless manner without completely eliminating a full aspect of being, which is feeling. Feeling is a way of experiencing, a way of perceiving, a way of finding meaning in things. And maybe what you're struggling with right now is to feel the purpose, to feel the passion within whatever it is that you're pursuing, or trying to figure out what it is you're going to pursue. And you might be feeling like I need to figure out what it is that I need to do, or I need to figure out where I'm headed, or I need to figure out why I can't be open and vulnerable with people. And I think it's because you really can't be open and vulnerable with yourself. You're very afraid of seeing what it is that you are suppressing, seeing what it is that you are fighting. Because I think maybe the truth of the matter is that you may feel like if you see these emotions, if you experience these emotions, that you're no longer strong. But that's the exact opposite. It actually makes you strong as fuck to like integrate your emotions and feel your emotions and allow yourself to feel them. Because when you suppress them, it's showing you that you don't feel strong enough to handle them. You don't feel equipped enough to handle them. And I would challenge you to almost look at your heart space as like, to look at your heart space the way you would look at it when you think of your childhood self. Which may be difficult because you may have very mean and unkind opinions of your childhood self, but I think you need to remember that your childhood self carried you to the person that you are now, and your child self deserves to be acknowledged and loved. And especially if you were raised in an environment where you either didn't get enough attention or love or validation, you didn't feel safe, or the figures that raised you either weren't kind or couldn't give you what you needed, you're in a position now where you are able to give yourself what you need. You're able to fight for what you want. But I think the predominant energy that your higher self is bringing forward is an energy that your 3D self, so your physical self, is very afraid of integrating into your whole being, because it will change not only how you view yourself, but potentially how you view others, and how you've been going about either relationships with others, your relationship with yourself. It has this kind of domino effect. Like there's so many different factors that this covers. So I think what we're just going to go ahead and do is start shuffling. But from what I can see here, it's like your emotional body is just like creeping up on you more and more, and it's like it's becoming much more difficult to fight it. But I think that your higher self is kind of trying to say, hey, you know, it's not time to fight it. It's time to embrace it, to be one with it, and to recognize it's part of your being. So if you are right now trying to integrate your emotions, that's wonderful. But I have one challenge before we get into the cards is I challenge you to start observing your emotions without shame or guilt and or judgment, and just observe them. And observe them at like very basic levels. Like when you're feeling an emotion, you know, ask yourself, what are you feeling? Where are you feeling it? Why might you be feeling this? Like all of that, and kind of just allowing feelings to give you data, to give you information, so that you can understand maybe why you're experiencing that. You know, instead of thinking of emotions as like something bad, as something that makes you weak or shitty, I challenge you to look at emotions as just another way of helping you perceive data and perceive what's going on in your external world. The same way when we fall and like scrape our knee or something and our knee hurts afterwards, you know, that's the knee's way of telling your brain, yo, we got scraped and it fucking hurts. So like put a band-aid on this bitch. Like, you know what I mean? And your emotions do the same thing. You have an emotional body, you have a spirit, an etheric body, you have a mental body and a physical body. And so your emotional body is the one that you're needing to integrate. But we're going to go ahead and start by shuffling your tarot. So what does the higher self of pile 1 want to say about this? Okay, yeah, we have the Seven of Wands in reverse, literally like the fighting card coming out. It's like, put down your weapons. I'm also hearing Battlefield by Jordan Sparks. Okay, yeah, we also have the Devil in reverse. Yeah, we have the Seven of Swords upright. This makes a lot of sense. 2 sevens already. We have the Sovereign of Cups. This is the Queen of Cups in reverse. We have the Six of Swords upright. And finally, on the back of the deck, we have the Two of Wands. Okay, so let me go ahead and pull from Miss Megadeck now. Today's Megadeck features 2 different Rebecca Campbell decks. The Work Your Light Oracle deck. And I can't riffle shuffle the deck this thick, this mega. We have the Work Your Light deck and the Starseed deck. So we're gonna use her for clarification. Oh my God, my hands are not big enough to hold all of this, but we are doing our best. Okay, let's just cut her into 3s just to be safe. Kind of hard to see the Starseed deck, but she's in there, I promise. Okay, what's wanting to come out here? What is that? The Eight of Wands in reverse. Okay, noting. Alrighty, so Spirit, or not Spirit, the higher self of pile 1. What else do you want to say about this issue? Can you clarify the Seven of Wands in reverse? Transformation. Things are changing at a cellular level. How about the Devil in reverse? Starkeeper, Cosmic Ancestor, seed the light by staying grounded. Okay, how about the Seven of Swords? We have Akasha, your guidance is divinely guided. What else? Can you clarify? Okay, so we have, with the Queen, clarifying the Queen of Cups, we have Starseed, what lights you up, and you're already doing it. Stop overthinking. Keep facing your true north. And finally, got one more. The Seven Star Sisters, Birthing Creations, Tapestry of Life Expression. And on the back of the deck, we have Lost Lands, Soul Memories and Gifts. You've done this before. So the good news, pile 1, that I want to just say right off the bat is that you have come so far already, and that the challenge of integrating your emotional body is not as challenging as your mind is making it seem. And I don't mean that in like it's all in your head, because like your mental state really does affect how you see things. But like, just starting off here with the Seven of Wands in reverse, clarified by transformation, things are changing at a cellular level, deep healing. Your higher self is asking you to stop fighting these energies that you're experiencing, and instead just allow them to see where they'll take you. Because you're good already at observing things, but I think you're not good at allowing yourself to even observe the uncomfortable things you experience, because you're too focused on the fact that you're uncomfortable to even observe them. It's kind of like you get into a fight or flight energy, or fight, flight, or freeze is what it really is. But you get into an energy that just stops you from being open. And with the Devil in reverse, clarified by Starkeeper, Cosmic Ancestor, seed the light by staying grounded. I think one thing that Spirit is saying is that it's a lot easier for you to get caught up in really negative coping mechanisms when you are ungrounded. So I would look up grounding techniques if you are unfamiliar with them. But the process of being grounded is just the process of connecting your energy to the Earth's energy grid and feeling that Earth energy. And I feel like you may be seeing your emotions as the devil in a way, like they're bad for you or they cause you to do bad things. But I think there's a bit of cognitive dissonance there, because I think that you're looking at the emotions as the bad thing, when in reality the emotions are the information. The bad thing is what you do to avoid the emotions that doesn't serve you in the long run. So you may, and it's, I'm not saying that you don't know that, but it is very easy to like dissociate from the truth almost, and see the negative emotions you're feeling as the real problem, instead of the solutions that you're trying to use to fix the problem. Because with the Seven of Swords here, it does seem like the universe is guiding you towards, I heard, something or someone. And if it's something, it's something that fills you with joy, something that makes you incredibly happy, something that lights you up. And if it's a person, same shit, where you're being guided about this situation and you're almost self-sabotaging. Not almost, you're literally self-sabotaging. You're literally saying like, nah, like, you're the epitome of that DW meme that's like, this can't stop me, this sign can't stop me because I never learned how to read. Like, as far as you're concerned, when the universe like shows up and is trying to give you information in an emotional way, you totally like do shitty stuff to yourself because you can't face it, you can't handle it. But the thing is that it's your belief that you can't face it. It's your belief that you can't handle it. And, you know, you may need to confide in others. You may need to get professional help. Whatever you need, you may not be able to do it by yourself, you know, and it's absolutely okay to ask for help. And in fact, your guides would encourage you to ask for help, because there is a very distorted masculine energy here, which everybody has feminine and masculine energy within them. And I think that you are very comfortable expressing more masculine energies. I think feminine energies, when they revolve around vulnerability or emotions like love, like compassion, things like that, I think you get very, very uncomfortable with that. And I also think that you like to have this energy around others, at least, where people don't know what you're feeling internally. People don't know what they're going to get with you, or if people do know what they're going to get with you, it's something that you have pre-approved mentally as a behavior that you're okay with projecting, or a vibe you're okay with projecting out to the world, whatever that may be. But with the Queen of Cups in reverse, there's definitely this feeling like there's already something in your life, something or someone in your life, whether it is a hobby that you're too ashamed to follow, a career path that you're too ashamed to follow, a person that you're too ashamed to pursue, whatever the case may be, whatever this Queen of Cups is, whatever lights you up inside, and you're trying to shut it down, or at the very least pretend like you don't get satisfaction from it, when in fact you already do. Because I think that your mind might be trying to come to terms, or like try to understand why you're experiencing all of this. And I think instead of just allowing yourself to experience things, allowing your heart space to be filled, allowing yourself to enjoy things, not because there's some sort of benefit from them other than it brings you joy. And maybe there's a belief that you're not allowed to feel joy. That's something that you might want to look at, or a belief that if you do experience good things, then they'll be taken from you. Like, you may have a deep distrust with the universe. You may feel like, okay, well, I'm not going to trust the universe because when I do, then things end up going poorly, or things always end up going shittily. And I would challenge you to look at that belief and ask yourself if that's really true. Because no matter what, it is true, because it's true to you. But that's an excellent example of a limiting belief. And I know that's frustrating to hear, because when we're in a more negative place, or we have kind of a shitty attitude, I'm not saying that you have a shitty attitude, but you may have a shitty attitude towards allowing yourself to feel good, allowing yourself to feel good things. And I think your higher self is challenging you on that and saying, the world wasn't always like this to you. Like, you used to be able to light up during certain things and experience that. And I'm not just discounting, like, obviously mental health issues and things like that are huge factors in our ability to do these things. And they're not as simple as just a tarot card spread, whatever tarot cards might be saying. Like, obviously there's a lot more nuance to these situations. But what your higher self is trying to get you to understand is that if you don't even give yourself a chance to feel things, if you don't even give yourself a chance to be lit up, to allow your heart space to flourish, to allow yourself to feel good and feel excited and do things solely out of enjoyment, not because you feel like you need to or because they'll have some sort of monetary benefit to them. Shit, I lost my train of thought. I think you're just like, you may have carved an identity for yourself out of the pain and trauma that you've experienced in your life. And you may have decided, well, this is just who I am now, and this is how it is, and it's never going to change because this is my truth. And I would challenge you to look at that as an ego response, because what I see happening is you're being guided not only by your higher self, but by your heart towards things that you said or believed that you would never want or do. And so you're actively denying yourself happiness because from what your higher self is saying, you're too stubborn to admit that maybe your true north is in a direction that you never thought you'd be going down. But I think your guides are challenging you, and your higher self is challenging you to allow yourself to move beyond the identities that you carved for yourself in the past. I was hearing like specific time frames, and I was like, whoa, Spirit, that's not going to be relevant for everyone. But with the Six of Swords here, part of what your guides are trying to help you with is getting away from like this Seven of Swords energy. Like, you may have experienced a lot of shady people, a lot of distrustful people, and Spirit is trying to, one, get you to analyze those situations a bit deeper, see what you can learn from them if you haven't already. I feel like a lot of you have already. Like, you may be very good at picking out like deceptive people or deceptive energies, but I think that you're very suspicious of everyone. And so because you're so suspicious, it's like you don't allow anyone or anything in that could be potentially fulfilling. And so with this Queen of Cups being in reverse here, it's almost like you're literally denying yourself something really wonderful because you're afraid that either you'll lose it, or that you'll be made a fool, or that you'll lose it, or that you don't deserve it. Maybe for some of you, it's like, maybe you know that you want it. Maybe you know that the universe is trying to offer it to you. But if you feel like you don't deserve it, then you can't feel like you have it. But I would challenge you to see where those feelings stem from, those feelings of deserving. Like, what makes you feel like you do or don't deserve something. And I would challenge you to believe, or to think about the fact that maybe the fact that you exist means that you're deserving of good things. Maybe the fact that you're a being on this planet, that you deserve love and kindness and compassion, not only from others, but from yourself. Because I think your biggest bully is you. And I think that your biggest enemy is yourself. Like, and you may be subconsciously projecting the idea that there's enemies all around you, or people all around you that want to see you fail, or want to see you be sad, or that want to knock you down a peg, or knock you even lower. And because you have such a warrior energy about you, honestly, I will say, I'm not trying to diagnose anyone or anything like that, but just with all this warrior energy and things like that, post-traumatic stress could definitely be something that you are dealing with. I think you'll know that if I'm bringing it up. I'm not diagnosing anyone and saying anyone has it, but I am saying that if you know you have that or you think you might, I would really encourage you to seek help, seek treatment in any way you can, because I do think that, you know, obviously challenges like that are very challenging, but at least acknowledging the issues and seeking solutions will make life a little bit bearable than it will be if you're just dealing with these things untreated without any assistance. You know, your higher self isn't asking for perfection from you. They're just asking you to express yourself more and to be open, to move on from this fear of having a heart, to move on from this fear of feeling like if you're not heartless and cold, then you're a weak person, because that's just not true. And with this birthing creations tapestry of life expression, I think you're receiving divine guidance either about something you want to pursue, something or someone you want to pursue. And I think Spirit is saying that you can move forward, that there is the opportunity to move forward here. The only way you won't get it is if you refuse to be open to it. Because what's interesting about this Two of Wands is that it shows like the wands crossed with one another. And I think that if you continue to feel like good things will be denied to you or ripped away from you, you're not going to be able to follow what is making your heart sing. And with the Star in reverse here, I think Spirit is just saying you have to look at your attitude, because if you don't even have hope that things will get better, I mean, that's really going to be a fucking damper on things. You know what I mean? But with this Lost Lands card, soul memories and gifts, you've done this before. It really, what's happening is you're reawakening to parts of yourself that you wouldn't even be aware existed if you hadn't reached this current moment in time in life. And so I think your guides are saying not to look at your past experiences as failures. They're life experiences that have taught you things, and we all go through highs and lows and challenges. Like, nobody leaves this earth unscathed. And I think one thing that you need to know, and that your guides are trying to explain to you, is that the universe is not being intentionally cruel to you. And you may feel that way, but that's not the truth, the objective truth. It can be your truth. You're allowed to have that as your truth, but your higher self and your guides love you very, very, very much, and want to assist you and want to help you get to a point and a place where not only are you doing something that is fulfilling or someone that is fulfilling, but also getting you to a place where you can work with the universe instead of feeling like the universe is plotting against you or working against you. And with wait, it's not yet time. Things are being woven. I think that Spirit is asking you, one, to maybe look at your impulsivity. That might be something that you want to look at, but also to recognize that you don't see the full picture yet. They are able to see so much more than you are. And what feels like a long ass time to you is a very, very short increment of time to them. And you have to remember how different your guide's perspective is going to be from your human perspective. And your guides wish that they could come down and be like, hey, everything's awesome, everything's great. Same with your higher self. But you're here to learn, you're here to grow, you're here to evolve. And I think that instead of feeling like there's something wrong with you for experiencing all these new energies, or re-experiencing energies that you shut down a really long time ago, Spirit is asking you to say, hey, maybe loving is as easy as existing. Maybe being open to love is as easy as existing. Maybe receiving, because I think that's it. It's not necessarily about giving love, because I think you can give love. I think you're very afraid of receiving it. And what it would do to your mentality if the mentality that you've been using to justify your behavior, not like it's your behavior in a bad way, just your behavior in general, for such a long time, that at this point it might be hard to move on from. But I think what Spirit is saying is that it's easier to move on from than you think. And the more you express your truth, whether it's through writing, whether it's through communicating with others, or just admitting it to yourself, the closer you get to a more actualized version of who you are. And, you know, 6 is the number of unconditional love. And I think what your higher self is really encouraging you here to do is to allow your inner child to express itself. So, and recognize what even is your inner child. So like triggers that stem from childhood, things that you enjoyed from childhood, whatever brings you back to that state. I would even encourage you to look at like baby pictures of yourself and have compassion for that young little version of yourself that couldn't protect or defend itself, and you know, you are just a product of your experiences. And the way we perceive our experiences is also what kind of creates the product of us. And so I think what your higher self is really coming through to say is, maybe this divine guidance you're receiving is not there to ruin your life, but instead to help you change your life for the better. And that in fact, the more you challenge these beliefs that you feel safe in, maybe the more you'll realize you've been holding yourself back and not allowing yourself to live as fully as you could be. And, you know, the thing is that you're not required to live as fully as you could be. You're not required to leave your comfort zone. You're not required to change or do anything. But if this is something that you want to fix, if this is something that you want to stop fighting, your higher self is saying you're going to have to be open to your emotions and your emotional body, and open to the idea of being. I would also recommend a book. It's called The Wisdom of Insecurity by Alan Watts. If you look up Alan Watts, you'll find it. But it literally talks all about how, you know, in life there are always going to be ups and downs. There are always going to be good and bad. You can't have the really wonderful without the really negative. You know, there are just... life is very dual, and okay, yeah, even Spirit's like telling me to calm down. Don't complicate it. The truth is simple. You already have the answers. Accept people in situations exactly as they are. It will bring you clarity and peace. But we're gonna finish off by looking at some channeled messages from your higher self. But I think the last thing I want to say is just to be open to discovering what your subconscious has to tell you. Allow your conscious mind to take a back seat and start getting in the practice of sitting in stillness, or taking like meditative walks, or something where you can just kind of allow your conscious mind to chill out for a little bit, because I think that will greatly help you pick up on what your emotional, subconscious, intuitive bodies are trying to tell you. But we're going to finish off with some messages from your higher self now. So pile 1's higher self, what do you want to say to pile 1? And you already know this. We are one. Look up at the moon. The same moonlight connects us all. In the end, we are more similar than we are different. We are in this together. And we have begin again. Today is a fresh start. Your path is clear to begin where you are. And we have protection. Thank God for unanswered prayers, rejections, and setbacks. Oh, thank God for unanswered prayers. Rejection and setbacks are blessings in disguise. The universe knows best. And I think the universe is kind of saying like, hey, we do know best. So like, please trust us, because we're not trying to give you advice to sabotage you. We're literally trying to do the exact opposite and set you up for success. But I feel called to look at the top card before we look at the bottom. This is what I was saying! Oh my god. Ugh. Shout out to Sin the Cancerian. This deck is so awesome. All is necessary. Without darkness, there is no light. Like a lotus flower, you can grow from the mud and bloom in the dark. And yes, on the back of the deck, we have believe. Believe in yourself, believe in your dreams, believe what you believe. What you believe is what you will create. You can do anything. And so I think Spirit is saying, you know, because you have the potential to create anything, to fight for anything, I think the best thing that you can do is fight for yourself, fight for your dreams, fight for what it is that you want. Because if you're going to be a warrior, why not be a warrior for good? Why not be a warrior for yourself? How about instead of fighting yourself, you fight for what you believe in, or fight for other people to feel safe expressing themselves too. And you know, I challenge you to sit with yourself, and I challenge you to be open to what your inner self, what your higher self, what your inner child has to say, because I think that the more you uncover what it is you're refusing to look at, the more you'll realize just how absolutely fucking lovable you are, and that you deserve so much more than you give yourself credit for. So pile 1, I'm going to leave this reading here. Thank you guys so much for watching all the way through, and thank you so much for watching my ads. That is the simplest and easiest way to support me. But if you'd like to support me in other ways, you can check out my merch down below. You can check out my social media, but do be aware there's a lot of scammers pretending to be me. So all of my social media accounts are linked down below, but anything else is not me. You could like this video, you can comment down below, let me know how it resonates. You can subscribe if you haven't already, and click that little bell notification to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. Thank you so much for letting me read your cards, and thank you so much to your higher self for coming through and channeling today. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye! Hi there, Pile 2. Thank you so much for being here. If you chose the Red Jasper and Howlite Pokeball and the Mystical Dream Tarot, this is going to be your reading. But to make sure this is your reading, we're going to check your energy and see what you're going through in the physical 3D world, what you're dealing with right now. And if it resonates, congrats, you found your reading. If it doesn't, I would try a different pile. And if you can't find a pile that sounds like your energy, there likely isn't a message for you in this reading, which is totally fine. So let's go ahead and start. Oh, also comment what Pokemon is in the Pokeball for you. I'm thinking for me, it's Clefairy. Okay, so to start with your overall energy, we have the Cave and Angels and Masters. So this is number 32 and this is number 33. Just want to note that. And then for your external energy, we have Get Wild, the Root Chakra with Challenge, the Messenger, and the Oyster. And then for your internal energy, we have Door to Personal Healing and Happiness. We have number 46, Cosmic Consciousness with the Crown Chakra. We have number 53, Make It Look Like the Night. And we have the Dragonfly. I don't know why I said it Dragonfly, I meant Dragonfly. But this is really interesting energy, Pile 2. And the first thing that I want to say is that you don't give yourself enough credit at all for how impressive you are. And I think part of the reason why, and you might be like, yes, thank you. I know that deep down, you know that, but you may be really hard on yourself, like externally, or, you know, just out of discomfort of like speaking positively about yourself. You may not, put yourself out there as much as you could, or you may just be afraid to like let your truth speak for itself. But you're very impressive, and your perspective on a spiritual level is impressive as well. With the Cave here, you're likely in a state of isolation right now, or you have reached a point in your spiritual journey, which this doesn't have to be like a conscious spiritual journey. This could just be your journey of like finding yourself, your journey of figuring out who you are and like finding your home within yourself. That is all represented here within this cave. There is this part of you that's in the darkness. Oh my gosh, wow. And I just totally realized, if I can pick up this card. Oh, come on. There we go. There's, if you can't tell, there's 2 eyes just barely peeking out. And there's a 3rd eye that's like glowing really brightly as well. And it's almost like their hands are like, come towards me if you dare. And so I feel like within this retreat, within this hermity energy that you have, it's like you may not even necessarily be isolated from other people. It's just that your energy at the very least is. So like even if you're in a group of people, it's kind of like you're off in your own little world, kind of like analyzing things, taking an energy, being incredibly perceptive. And you have a lot of angelic energy around you right now. And I'm feeling called to like pull 2 cards, I guess 2 since Spirit's saying 2, just to see maybe who might be around you right now, because I have this deck right here. Archangel Michael's on the back of the deck, so it could be him. He's always hanging around me, so I wouldn't be shocked if he pops up in your reading as well. He is quite a lovely, lovely energy to have around. But let's see, Spirit, who is watching over pile 2 at this time? Spirit's actually telling me to get 4, so I'm going to pull 4. Okay, so we have Mother Gaia, Goddess Gaia. So this is like Mother Earth, any motherly, earthly energies. Who else? Archangel Zadkiel, who looks over transmutation, mercy, and the violent flame. If you want to know more about these angels, by the way, I would recommend Googling them or looking into other information. We also have Saint Dymphna? I'm probably saying that wrong. It kind of looks like it's Dymphna, but she's around mental health and well-being and support. I'm so sorry if I'm saying names incorrectly. And we have Baba Yaga, the wise and wild woman, duality, the witch. And on the back of the deck, we have Archangel Azrael, who is all about death and rebirth, transitions and life changes. And I think it makes sense that he's kind of coming out last, because you've got a lot of interesting elements here. Some lower and higher chakras and heart chakra energy. But it kind of seems like all of these spiritual energies are either working together or Spirit's telling me that like some of you are going to connect individually with certain energies, and others, I think Spirit is encouraging you to do your research around these specific figures to see like what signs and syncs maybe are already popping out, because that could help you like determine or discern maybe who's trying to reach out to you, who's trying to communicate with you. But also, you know, you learn more, and you may be able, not maybe, but you just may learn more. You may have more synchronicities, or you might find some sort of sign or message that you've been looking for or needing. So feel free to screenshot those if you'd like, but that's not the point of this reading. I just wanted to see if there's any that you guys would connect to. So I did that. But anyway, with this Angels and Masters card here, I definitely think that you have a lot of divine support around you right now, protecting you, nurturing you, and giving you lots of information and encouragement. And this encouragement is coming in an energetic form. And this energetic encouragement is pushing you to do something that is way out of your comfort zone, and it has to do with your emotions. So this could be, the biggest thing that I'm getting is like, this could be about lifestyle changes in general, or creative pursuits. It could be about like communicating your feelings more to the people around you. But the biggest thing that I'm getting is that in your external world, you're feeling motivated to either share your voice, like there could be a lot of writers in this group, or share creations, or if you already are a creator of some kind, you could be you might be encouraged or feel called to maybe change up the type of content you're producing, or add more to what you're already doing, or do something outside of your comfort zone. I just heard hiking, so maybe for some of you, you're in the process of just getting and maintaining better habits, better self-care habits. There's a lot of like divine inspiration around improving yourself and also grounding the divine truth that you've uncovered within. Because, well, I want to keep talking about this because I just love this energy so much. There is a part of you, and I think it's a very cerebral part of you, it's probably your ego that's most uncomfortable with these changes. It might be very hard for you to be open and expressive with your art or your creations or with your feelings or with your, what's the word? Or you may be struggling to maybe like let go of judgment of yourself. I think judgment of yourself is a big thing here. Because with this Get Wild card, I think that you're feeling this call to like almost kind of give in to these primal and more animalistic instincts and urges, like the primal instinct to express yourself, the primal instinct to create, the primal instinct to just release things, release emotions, release energy. And from what I can see with this Oyster card is you're keeping a lot of things held within that you're afraid to share. So whether that's sharing it with an audience, sharing it with the people on your social media page, sharing with coworkers, sharing with friends, romantic interests, whatever it may be, you're definitely holding back information that you have or creative inspiration that you've received because you're either afraid of it, of like whatever it is that you're pursuing, like not turning out the way you want it to. I get the overall vibe though that there isn't like a specific project or a specific person or a specific thing that this is about. I think this is just about changes in general. Like I feel like this is mainly about changing your attitude towards yourself and your lifestyle and like your habits and your behaviors, but it also definitely extends to how you creatively express yourself. I think that you're maybe so self-aware that it's very hard for you to get lost in the moment because you're constantly rationalizing and thinking about what it is that you're doing. I think that creative expression or just raw emotional expression in general is something that you find cringy or have a hard time even like journaling about. Like maybe you do write in a journal, but you don't like to write about the negative or difficult things you're going through because you just don't even like to put those feelings on paper. I do see that automatic writing could be something useful for channeling information. For those of you that don't know, automatic writing is just the process of like writing without thinking and kind of allowing like, I would once again do your own research, but it's just a way of channeling information. It's one that I employ a lot and personally find very useful. But let's talk about your internal energy because this is what is so impressive. So you've been working really hard to find your inner peace, find your healing, find your happiness, and you've been working really hard to heal and discover yourself. And what I love is that you're not backing away from the truths that are being revealed to you. In fact, it's almost like you're kind of backing away from external society because these truths are so undeniable to you that you're seeing fallacies and illusions within the 3D, or the physical material world that are making you realize that all is not as it seems. I think that you really are reaching a place where you are finding your truth and this truth feels good. So if it is your truth, it should feel good. It should make you feel lighter. It should take a weight off of your chest. And I think right now you're trying to find your truth about these challenges, about getting wild, about being more involved in the physical world in a way that aligns with these inner truths that you have. Because one thing that I can see here is there is this disconnect between how people see you and your true nature. And I think that's partially because you really hold back on expressing yourself, on expressing your truth, maybe out of fear that people will understand you, or out of fear of being judged, being ridiculed, looking stupid. We have air energy here with the dragonfly and water energy here. So you could have like a water rising and an air moon, or like a water sun and an air moon, or an air Mars. You don't have to though, but the placements would be Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. You certainly don't have to have those, but with the dragonfly here, I think that you are kind of decluttering all of the mental mess in your mental body, and you're releasing a lot of anxious thoughts. I don't want to say anxiety in general, but like anxious thoughts that don't serve you. You're kind of like checking those more. I think that you've been speaking to yourself more kindly. Krishna, I hope I'm saying that correctly, is represented in this crown chakra card. So you could be a devotee of Krishna, or his energy could just be around you. But I definitely think that you've made a lot of strides in your personal development, personal growth, and your spiritual development. And I think that you are becoming very comfortable at looking into your self-conscious, getting information from your inner self, from your inner truth, and you really are evolving. It just seems like what you're struggling with now is living in your truth authentically, without fear of being judged, and also making the changes necessary in order to make this inner truth something that is also expressed within your outer reality as well. But this cave card here goes to show that there's a lot of deep wisdom that you have, and these inner parts of yourself that not everybody sees. Actually, most people don't see. I think unless you share it with others, people don't really see it at all. And one thing that I think you need to know is that there are 1,000 versions of you in other people's heads, and you have to remember that the only opinions of you that should matter are your opinion of yourself first and foremost. And maybe a select few people, a select few loved ones, whatever type of love you may have attached with them. But sometimes our loved ones' opinions can be more detrimental than useful, so take that with a grain of salt. But I do think that you do not recognize how valuable your perspective is, and how needed it is, and how needed it is for other people to hear it, and how needed it is for your soul and for you to just start releasing things and not care about always being calm, cool, contained. Allowing yourself to be free, allowing yourself to have fun and to play, and to not care how it looks on the outside, to not care how other people perceive you, to just have fun and be in the moment. And I think that you're getting a lot of messages about this already, or you may be writing down affirmations or things you want to do and create, but Spirit is saying that speaking it is not enough. You still have to ground it. You still have to express it. You still have to be open to it. It's almost like you guys are in this little Pokeball. Like you're hiding in the Pokeball. You don't want to come out and fight the challenges that you face when living in your authentic truth. It's like easier to be safe in your little Pokeball. And to be fair, you do need to be in your Pokeball at times just for protection and for energetic protection and to recharge yourself and things like that. But you're being equipped with the tools needed to handle any energy that comes your way that is uncomfortable to you, or makes you feel like you're being drained, or makes you feel like you're being judged, or things like that. I think that there's just like a mental fear that you're trying to get over at this time. So let's go ahead and see what your higher self wants to say about this. I'm sure I'll say this in the intro because I haven't filmed the intro yet, but we have Miss Megadeck back And this time she is made of Rebecca Campbell decks. She is made up of the Work Your Light deck and the Starseed deck. So it'll be interesting to see what insights Miss Megadeck has for us. But I'm going to give these cards a good few shuffles, and then we'll see what comes out. Yeah, I do want to say, though, pile 2, I think you're a bit disconnected from your higher self. I think you're actually very connected to spirit and like loving spiritual energies, but I think you have a hard time receiving divine guidance from yourself, because I think you have a hard time even seeing yourself as a divine being. And truthfully speaking, our humanity is part of what makes us divine. I just think that you're probably incredibly hard on yourself and don't give yourself enough credit, just for how far you've come and how much you've learned, how much you've grown, and the person that you are now. I just think you have a lot to be proud of. And I think your higher self wants to work with you more, but maybe you have to be more open to receiving your own energy in a divine way. So Spirit, okay, I guess that doesn't want to come out. What does pile 2's higher self want to say to pile 2? So yeah, we have the moon. I just heard that Bruno Mars song, like Talking to the Moon, whatever it is. We have the King of Pentacles. We have the 9 of Cups. These are all upright, which is interesting because I am doing reversals in this deck. So for some of you, I heard that you need to know whatever it is that you're pursuing right now could be something that is something very long-lasting and fruitful financially. We also have the Queen of Swords. We have the Ace of Cups, holy shit. And on the back of the deck, we have the Queen of Wands in reverse and the Tower in reverse. Okay, so let's get Megadeck out now and see what she wants to say. I don't know why, but there's a very random message coming through related to Finding Nemo. That scene with all the seagulls that are going like, mine, 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 mine. I don't know if they're seagulls, but whatever they are. That are like trying to eat Marlin and Dory. I don't know what it's about, but I do think that maybe... you have this belief that you're not worthy of good things, or that the universe isn't going to give you good things because like there are so many other people who are deserving of blessings, and it's like you may feel like the universe doesn't have enough for you, or that the universe doesn't see you or isn't rewarding you, and that's not true at all. It's definitely just a perception of yours. But let's go ahead and see what Megadeck wants to say. So can you clarify? Oh my god, okay. That's a lot. So yeah, your higher self, I think, has been trying to get to you for some time, but maybe they struggle to get messages through to you when you're in a very like mental state or your mind is racing. Megadeck, will you clarify the moon, please? Okay, so we have Lemuria creating heaven on earth. It's happening. What about the Spirit of Pentacles? Okay, empathic starseed, absorbing what's not yours. Okay, what about the 9 of Cups? You're not alone, isolation, physical connection, community. We have Pleiades, double mission, channeling and uplifting humanity. And then I'm going to pull one more. we have leap. You go first, the universe will catch you. And on the back of the deck, we have child of the cosmos. The intelligence of the universe lies within you. And oh my God, I love this. I love how similar the two energies on these cards are. This is like so meant for you. Oh my God. Oh, and also, just so you know, you have a lot of star family. Yeah, so you're definitely a starseed of some kind. And I will say, for those of you that are wondering where my starseed reading is, it's coming, I promise. I wait for the universe to tell me when it's time to do readings, and it just hasn't been time yet. But yeah, you definitely have some star energy within you, whether you resonate with that label or not. I definitely think that Earth isn't the only place you have incarnated. But I do think a lot of your lifetime, this lifetime, your higher self is telling you is to become strong and abundant, and feel safe within this physical material world. The card that's calling out to me first is empathic starseed, energetic sovereignty, absorbing what's not yours. There's a lot about grounding and protecting your energy, connecting to the Earth's grid, and then also connecting to spirit, so that you have a solid, loving, unconditionally loving connection with spirit. But I think that there's maybe wounds around judgment from others, or people disrespecting your boundaries, or taking from you when you generously give, or things of that nature, where I think you just came into this earth really misunderstood. And I think that you're finding a lot of freedom in understanding yourself. But I think what you're realizing is people are still going to misunderstand you. And maybe at times you kind of forget that you need to protect your energy, or forget that, energy doesn't lie, or that like you can absorb negative energy. And so one thing that I think that spirit is saying, and your higher self is saying, is that the habits, the challenges that you're going through now are helping you evolve into a person that you can rely on to carry you through life. Because I don't think you've felt very safe in your body, or just very safe on Earth in general. And a lot of the things that you're changing, a lot of the challenges that you're going through right now, are what is helping you to be fully sovereign and safe in your energy, and also help you have confidence in yourself. One thing that I'm hearing, this is a very specific message, and this will not be for everyone, but if you're currently single right now and maybe wondering like why the universe isn't giving you like love or that manifestation that you're wanting, it could partially be because you're afraid to express your feelings, which we saw that with that oyster card, but also it's maybe because you haven't made these changes in the physical yet, or have gone after making these changes, because there's some energy about making these changes that are like going to be more beneficial to you in the future. There's something about like you like needing this step of your journey to be something that is solely yours. Like nobody can give themselves credit for this step or this level of your evolution. Like this is something that you need to do on your own, and you need to learn on your own, even though it's scary. But you've been guided here. You've been guided to the place where you are now. You're exactly where you need to be in this moment when you're watching this video. And because it is a timeless reading. But one thing that Spirit's saying is, we know it's scary. We know you're unsure of yourself, but we promise that you're okay. And like the fact that we have this leap card with the universe will catch you with the moon, I feel like whatever it is that you've been feeling called towards, the universe is really encouraging you to go for it. Especially if this has to do with like schooling or applying for some sort of program or job. Even if it seems like a reach, I think Spirit is really asking you to do it. to go for it, because the worst thing that happens is you get a rejection, but at least you tried. Because if you don't even try, like, you're rejecting yourself before anyone else can reject you. And one thing that Spirit's saying is that you're the shit, and if anything does reject you, there's probably a good reason for it. You know, rejection is divine protection, whether we understand that or not. But Spirit is really saying that you may want to look towards other people and credit them with helping you along your journey. But I think Spirit is saying that you forget that you deserve the most credit here. You've been the one taking the action. You've been the one seeking answers. You've been the one working so hard to try to understand yourself and understand your environment. And one thing that Spirit is saying is part of your mission right now that your higher self wants to help you with is helping you create an environment, especially within your home, and like when it comes to your lifestyle, to just make, oh, also sorry if my nail grosses you out, I set it on fire. Oops. Anyway, now I'm hearing The Baddest Female by CL. And so obviously you don't have to be female, but I do think that you're very impressive and that you're much stronger than you give yourself credit for. But I think that Spirit is saying, and your higher self is saying, okay, now is the time to start creating the outer world that we want to live in, so that it's easier for us to maintain this good, enlightened inner energy. Because you can always fall away. You can be isolated from your truth the same way you can be isolated from other people. And so with this, you're not alone. I think one thing that your higher self wants you to know is that it's right there supporting you, even if you don't realize it's there. But not only that, like, you've got so much spiritual energy around you, star guides, angels, ascended masters that are here to help you on this mission of yours. And I think it's a really important one, if I'm being honest. Something with alchemy could be important, but I do think that whenever you're feeling lost from your spiritual truth, your higher self is encouraging you to connect with people that share similar values and beliefs, because they can kind of help you realign yourself with that energy, even if you're not explicitly trying to do that. And oftentimes, the people that share those same beliefs can share insights with us that we didn't have before. Now, with this Pleiades card, channeling and uplifting humanity, you could be a Pleiadian starseed. Also, sorry if I'm saying that wrong. I just really bad at pronouncing things. I do my best, though. Spirit's saying your mission here is to channel divine information and uplift humanity with it. And you can do that in all sorts of ways. You could do that by being a columnist in a newspaper is one thing I just heard. You can do that through artistic expression, creative expression. You can do that through just simply talking to other people. For some of you, this could have something to do with psychology, or becoming a counselor or a therapist of some kind, a social worker. But part of your purpose here is to uplift humanity, and that includes yourself. And you might forget that at times, because with this Queen of Swords here, I think that you have to rationalize the things that you're deserving of, or rationalize why things are happening to you, or why you should do something. And this is not a bad thing. It is great to have a rational mindset. It's great to critically think and to think logically and to question things. But I think what your higher self is saying is that you may be so analytical. Honestly, it's very Gemini and Virgo. It's very Gemini. You could have a Gemini or Virgo moon / Venus. But it kind of seems like you have a hard time sitting in the energies that are surrounding you if they don't come through in like in a way that you're comfortable with. So like, you may have really well-developed claircognizance or clairvoyance, but like maybe, for example, you get really uncomfortable when you're receiving information through feeling love or like feeling sadness or something like that. Or maybe for example, like maybe you're feeling called to write about certain experiences in your life, but you don't want to face the negative feelings that you faced when you went through the experience. And so I think one thing that your higher self is saying is that if you feel called to share these experiences, one, give yourself time and space to work through that. Like, be patient with yourself and allow yourself to just have this experience without placing any meaning on it. So like if you're going through an experience, instead of placing meaning onto it, like, you know, just go through it. Just go through it and see how you recall it and see what you can learn from it. Because at the end of the day, there are no mistakes, just happy accidents. Wow, okay, Bob Ross coming through. Maybe Bob Ross is significant in some way, but Spirit is really saying that you have a divine mission here and your higher self is trying their best to guide you through that. But I think that this Eight of Swords is kind of, and even the Seven of Pentacles, it's like you're waiting for the green light, but what you don't realize is that you've had like 7 million green lights and you get them every day all the time. It's your uncertainty, but I don't know if I should do this, or I'm too afraid to do this, or like you'll put it off and say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll do it the next day, I'll do it. It's just something that you're never taking opportunities towards these things that frighten you, even though they feel right in your soul, because it's almost like you either back out last minute or you justify reasons why you shouldn't do something in that moment, or reasons you shouldn't like take an opportunity, be out of fear. It's like you get yourself stuck in analysis paralysis. For some of you, there could be something to do with a relationship here, where I think that you're actually being encouraged to express your truth, express your feelings towards this person. Whether it's, and this doesn't have to be a romantic interest. This could be, for example, somebody that you want to be friends with, like maybe somebody that you felt like is a mutual on social media or something like that. And maybe, you know, you think they're really awesome, but you're afraid to reach out to them. This is an excellent example of where rejection is divine protection, because if you reach out to someone and you're like, you know, oh, I want to be friends, or hey, like I really want to get to know you or something like that, and they're shitty to you, then obviously they would be a shitty friend, and like you're just getting out of that energy sooner rather than later. But I think Spirit really is encouraging you to express your truth and trust that the universe will catch you. With the Queen of Wands in reverse, with the Tower in reverse, I think that another reason why you haven't been going after all these changes or feeling creatively inspired to do, because I think some of this is about a lack of creative inspiration. Like you may be stuck in a very pragmatic energy that's not allowing you to find complete fulfillment. I do also think that maybe parental or mentor figures could have an influence in how you spend your time. Maybe you were raised by very like practical, logical people, and especially if they support you in a financial way, like maybe you feel like you can't really do what it is that you want yet, or maybe you feel pressured to follow a similar path. There is a specific like fatherly energy coming through where you may like be afraid of disappointing your father or your parents. But I do think that there's a message from your higher self saying that, you know, you don't deserve to miss out on things that would make you truly happy just because you're worried about what somebody else would think when it's not even their life. But obviously those things are much easier talked about than executed on, than acted upon, you know what I mean? But with the Divine Tower in the reverse, I do think that there are things from your past maybe that you either haven't quite healed from, or it's not that you haven't healed them at all, and so they're like lingering in your subconscious in a way that it's like, I'm not ready to address that yet. And I think it's having an effect where it's making you less motivated to be creative, or there could just be a fear about your creations in general, like the effect that they have. You may be afraid of losing the stability that you've gained by switching things up, by changing things up. But I think what your higher self is saying is, I know making changes is scary, but actually the most impactful changes are going to change you for the positive. Like, and I think these changes really have to do with your lifestyle, like setting a routine, or journaling more, creating a spiritual ritual for yourself, creating time to protect your energy every day, being more cognizant of like what you're putting in your body and like how much water you're drinking. It's almost like Spirit's saying that if you've been doing the same thing over and over and over, expect to get similar results. And so if you're wanting things to change, I think Spirit's saying that you have to be the one to make those changes, to make that leap, and then the universe will adjust to the changes that you're making, the changes in your energy that you're making, and y'all will be able to make some shit happen. But I do think that Spirit is saying that your wishes and your dreams are worth shooting for, are worth trying to achieve. Because I'm hearing the quote, like, shoot for the moon, because like even if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars. And so I think what Spirit's saying is that whatever path you're on right now that feels right to you, that is your path for right now, and that is where you're being divinely guided towards. And Spirit's saying, in your higher self is saying, which your higher self is part of Spirit, I should just say, but Spirit's not asking you to focus on a destination or a specific goal, a specific time frame, anything that revolves around a specific number or a specific outcome. Spirit is asking you to release that. Instead, they're asking you to make goals based upon things you want to achieve, but not in like a monetary or numbers-esque type of way. Like, they want you to creatively achieve and push boundaries in that way, I feel like. And I think they just want you to accept more opportunities that will be fulfilling to your heart, and not just, and not brush them away because they may not be fulfilling to your wallet, is something that I heard. But you have a powerful soul and a powerful mission here. And I think that the more you allow yourself to like show up the way it wants to, instead of figuring out who you should be or how you should act, just allowing yourself to act the way that feels good and best to you, obviously so long as it doesn't hurt others, and just allow yourself to show you who you are now, rather than compare your present self to your past self, especially if it's like from your childhood or your teen years or things like that. I think Spirit's really saying, like, you're not your childhood self. You're not the same person you once were. You have grown and evolved beyond a lot, and you do not have to live by the definitions that other people gave you, the way other people saw you, especially because a lot of times other people project their own insecurities and their own issues onto us unfairly and make us believe that we're the problem when we're really not. So Spirit's saying you're not alone here. We're here supporting you. We're not judging you and watching you and thinking, oh wow, pile 2 just can't get it together. They just can't get it together in the physical. Like, the universe is not going to punish you. The universe is not going to, it's not the same thing as school. You don't have to ask for permission to go to the bathroom anymore. You don't have to ask for permission to do things. Spirit just wants you to do them, and then Spirit will catch you. Like, you might be waiting to receive guidance on what to do, and Spirit might be saying, we just need you to do, and then we'll comment on what you're doing and give you guidance based on that. So it's like, instead of waiting and asking Spirit what to do, or feeling like you need to have all the facts before you act, Spirit's like, allow inspiration to come to you and act based off of that inspiration. Don't think, just do. And honestly, this message feels so fucking good to say, because I'm about to put my 4th grade teacher on blast, because she definitely contributed to my childhood trauma. Anyway, she used to have this stupid fucking sign in her classroom, and she would say this all the time in the most nagging fucking voice in the world. She like had this vendetta against Nike. So Nike could also be a spiritual deity around you, but she would always say, don't just do it. Think about what you're doing. And it's like, okay, thanks. But for those of us who do nothing but think about what we're doing and don't do anything, like that's not helpful or useful advice. And it wasn't then and it wasn't now. And I'm sure dealing with fourth graders is very irritating because a lot of them don't think before they do things. But just hearing her say that my entire life, like just in my head, like even though it was just for fourth grade, it lasted my entire life, and I still hear that nagging voice, and it just drives me insane because sometimes it's better to do without thinking. It's all about nuance, and it's all about knowing the situation. And I think in this case, don't listen to my fourth grade teacher, damn it. Do things without thinking sometimes. Do things because you feel inspired to. Obviously, don't do illegal things with, you know, it's like don't act recklessly and foolishly. Like, I get where she was coming from, but she was also just not a very nice person. And I just don't understand why people stick around in education jobs when they genuinely don't like children. And yeah, okay. Anyway, Spirit is really just asking you here to not feel like you need to intellectualize or rationalize why you should do something or how you should do something. That you can do things and make mistakes and mess up, or do things and realize, oh, this doesn't work so well for me. I think Spirit is asking you to overcome these physical challenges, these challenges that you have in the 3D, through a trial and error process where instead of making these detailed plans, just try something and maybe like do it in a very scientific way where you state your hypothesis. Like, for example, if you're changing, if your sleep routine is all fucked up, you might be like, okay, so my hypothesis is that I think that if I go to bed at this time and wake up at this time and make sure that I get 8 hours of sleep for 2 weeks, that my circadian rhythm will improve and my energy levels will change. And just see what fucking happens. You know, it doesn't, you might find that the experiment is a complete failure, or you might find that it goes beyond your wildest expectations. Be your own guinea pig and like try different things, you know? And it's interesting that I bring up guinea pigs because I have guinea pigs and I love them very, very much, but they are afraid of everything. They're prey animals, and you know, obviously having a mom with talons might be kind of scary for them, but I mean, not that they're afraid of me. They love me. I'm their carer, but you know, you may just be so focused on your fears of failure, your fears of what may or may not happen, your fears of what happens if you fail, your fears of what people will think. Like, it's all just shit that doesn't really matter at the end of the day. It's all just worries. It's all just fears. It's all just things that your brain has caught on to in order to protect yourself, because in the past you were shamed, you were judged, you were treated poorly by people who didn't understand you. And so what Spirit is saying is that your guides, especially your guides and the spiritual energy around you, is not human. They do not have ego. They do not have the same sets of expectations that you have for yourself. And what they want you to know is that they are here to support you, and they want you to feel free to be and to do, instead of just thinking and anticipating and figuring out what to be. Instead, just be what you are. Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and finish off this message with some channeled messages. As I cut the deck, we have allow. Let it all flow to you. Allow others to lead. Let go of control and expectations. Trust what is yours will always find you. Yeah, it's almost like, because, you know, with the Queen of Wands being in reverse here, it's, you know, the wand suit is really credited with being just most naturally and intuitively connected to Spirit. And I think what you're really being directed to is inspired action rather than action that you take because you feel like you have to or you think that you should. But I definitely think that if you are waiting for a new emotional opportunity, or waiting to find that thing that will be most emotionally fulfilling to you. I think the answer, where you're going to find that, lies in the changes that you are trying to make. So, okay, we're going to finish off with channel messages from your higher self. So let's go ahead and see what your higher self wants to say to you. I am the source of my joy. I create my happy ever after. Yes, you are creating your own heaven on earth, and you are creating this joy for yourself. And I think what Spirit is saying is that a lot of this joy comes within, and you have a lot of support that wants to help you with that, wants to help you sit in that divine joy. What else? You are enough. Yes, you always have been. You always will be. Release attachment to relationships and achievements to feel worthy. Yeah, and that was another thing I felt called to say as well. Like, if you are pining or pursuing a person, or hoping that a connection is going to come into your life or come back into your life, I think your higher self is challenging you to surrender the when and how. Even if you like know that someone's coming back, or know that like your story with someone isn't over, Spirit might be encouraging you either to express your truth to them now, or if you don't feel like it's time yet, you don't feel like you're ready to do that, and I think that Spirit is asking you to focus on your journey and recognize that you're already complete. Like, you don't need a person to complete you. You don't need somebody to validate you. And that this person's presence in your life, whether it's a romantic relationship, a family relationship, a friend, is not or never will. It is not going to, and it never will dictate your worth. Your relationships with others will never dictate your worth, but you should be careful who you hang around, because you do pick up on the energy of the people you're around. But yeah, we also have trust the wait. So for those of you that know that this person is coming back, or this situation is coming around, or the fact that whatever this leap is about, whether it's taking a leap of faith in your career, in creative pursuits, whatever it may be, trust the wait. Just when the caterpillar thought her life was over, she began to fly. Embrace the uncertainty. When nothing is certain, anything is possible. You are transforming. Yeah, and I really think it's important to know that you're not like that. I feel like you feel so rushed, because I feel rushed giving this reading, and it's like nobody's feeling rushed but you. And like, I'm the only person that's making myself feel like I need to finish at a certain point. You know what I mean? Like, I think Spirit's saying you're not running out of time. You're exactly where you need to be. And this one came off the top of the deck, and I felt like it was meant for you. And it says, time for adventure. Turn waiting into living. Yes, be spontaneous. If not now, when? Try new things. This is exactly what I was saying. Don't think about what you're doing. Just fucking do it. Don't listen to my 4th grade teacher, god damn it. And on the back of the deck, we have meditate. Make time to just be. Like I was saying, yeah, just be. Get lost in the moment. A chill you is patient, creative, and happy. And so I think Spirit is also encouraging you to meditate in creative ways. So whether it's through art or music, or even just like walking. I think maybe a more physical form of meditation could be very, very beneficial for you, and kind of help you get that mental energy out, so that the spiritual energy that you're channeling can just come through you a lot more clearly. But pile 2, I'm gonna leave your reading here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for watching my ads. That is the simplest and easiest way to support me. But I hope this message was cohesive, because it definitely felt all over the place, but I hope that it helped and it resonated. If it did, you can like this video, you can comment down below, let me know how it resonates, or you can subscribe and click that little bell notification to be notified whenever I upload a new video. Of course, you don't have to. If you'd like to support me in other ways, my social media accounts are linked below, but do be aware I have a lot of scammers always impersonating me, especially on Instagram right now. So Do be aware that I will not direct message you offering you a reading. I am not offering readings at this time. And I make my own readings so damn long because I want to make up for that. So, yeah, don't have time for personal readings. I wish I did, but I do not right now. And yeah, so anyone that says they're me offering you a personal reading is a fucking scammer. And unfortunately, I just can't. I'm kind of powerless. But I also have merch if you want to check that out. That will be linked below. But I think that's all I have. So thank you so much for letting me read your cards. I hope that this information was really beneficial. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you are watching this video. Thank you to you for letting me read your cards, and to your higher self for coming through and allowing me to channel, and for all the deities that came through in this reading as well. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye! Hi there, Pile 3. If you guys chose the green Aventurine Bulbasaur and the Apparition Tarot, this is going to be your reading. But to make sure first that this actually is your reading, we're going to see what your current energy is and what you're going through and what your higher self is going to be talking about and commenting on. So if this part does not resonate, then I would say this is not your reading. I would try a different pile if that is the case, or just go about your day, because it's quite possible if you don't feel drawn to any of the other piles, there may not be any messages here for you. But come back another time or check out a different video because maybe there's a message there. But to start with your overall energy, we have the self and we have the third eye with clarity. And interestingly, oh wait, no. I thought that was 26. It's actually 29. So we have 29 and 25. And then looking at your external energy, to start, we have the heart chakra with ignorance. Don't get offended by that. I'll explain this in a second. Well, I mean, you can if you want to. I just, it's not meant in a very, like, ignorant way, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you're ignorant, Pile 3. No. We also have power. We have earthworm, and we have green. And then for your internal energy, we have the angel of love. We have bliss with the crown chakra. We have the bear. And we have everything you need too soon. Wow, okay. So I just heard the word cusp, and I think that's a great way to describe you, Pile 3. It seems like if you picked this pile, which there's a lot of green in this pile, even your tarot cards are green, and it makes sense that we'd be talking about the heart chakra and love. But you've been you're on the cusp of forever change. And this isn't forever change that, like, you're not expecting. This is actually forever change that is a long time coming, and you know it. And you're receiving it now because you have clarity about who you are. So with the self and clarity here, I think that you're seeing your dimensionality. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Your multi-dimensionality around yourself, and as a result, it's allowing you to also see the multi-dimensionality of others. It's also helping you do a better job of read other people's energy. And I think that you are having a lot of I would call them truth bombs, but you could also call them like intuitive downloads, but essentially information that you can't deny. Like it awakens something within you. And I think the process that you've been going through before you came to this video and as you're watching this, it is timeless, so it doesn't matter when you come across this, but whenever you do, I think you're awakening to a truth about This could be a person. I would say it's more likely that it's about a person, but it doesn't have to. This could be somebody that you're with or somebody that you're not with. It really doesn't matter. But this could also have something to do with like a skill or a hobby or a career path. It really could be anything, but it's something that you truly love, whether it's a person, a thing, or something that you're doing. It has awakened a part of you that you were unaware of until now. And through whatever this thing or person is, you've gained a lot of clarity about yourself. I also think there's something in here, if any of you watching take like psychedelics, I'm not telling you to or like encouraging that, but I'm saying if you do, you may have gone through some sort of ego death recently, or you could have gotten an ego death without taking psychedelics. It's not like you need psychedelics to have an ego death. You can have one sober, but I do think that you are seeing yourself in a much more multidimensional way and recognizing now that there's no reason to hold back on your truth, and you're coming through in a very clear and sovereign way. Like your energy is clear, like you are in charge, like you're empowered, you're in an empowered energy. And as a result, you're ready for the next step. And this next step involves you opening your heart up in some way, whether that's to another person or to a creative pursuit, to a desire of yours that maybe you've been ashamed of or you didn't even realize that you had it until recently. Because this is something that you're foreign to, whether it is a relationship with somebody else or something new. It's like in the external world, I think there's a level of intimidation because you feel like a noob again with this earthworm energy. You may feel like you don't have enough experience yet, or you don't know what you're doing. But with this green card here, this is the last card in this oracle deck, and it talks about growing wild and growing beyond the confines of what's already been constructed. Like it talks about how, you know, abandoned buildings and abandoned like cities, you know, eventually nature grows back and grows over those. It reclaims itself. Like nature always reclaims what humanity has built if humanity doesn't maintain it. And I think that what's coming through is a part of yourself that has always been there, but now is just growing beyond the constrictions or the limits that you're either limiting beliefs, mentality, or ego has like placed upon yourself in the past. And these can be things like expectations in terms of how you should behave, or general beliefs about, you know, there's kind of like all or nothing thinking here. Like you can't do certain things, or you shouldn't do certain things, or if you do X, Y, Z, you're gonna look like, I specifically heard the word a pussy. That's the word that I heard, but I don't like, I'm not saying that as like, oh, that's how you see yourself. I do think that there could just be a fear of looking weak or looking unempowered, because I think you've worked really hard to reach a place of empowerment and reach a place where you're growing and you're self-actualizing and you're allowing yourself to be, period. You're not forcing yourself to conform to some strict identity. You're not forcing yourself to be anything other than you are. And as a result, you're aligning with the shit that, not the shit, actually, it's really awesome stuff. It's not shitty. It might feel, the process of aligning with it may have felt shitty, but you're bringing in the rewards for all the hard work you've been doing on yourself. And for some of you, this reward has to do with your love life. So you could be aligning with a person, or maybe you already have, like maybe you're dating someone, freshly dating someone, or talking to someone, and it's reawakening emotions within you that you haven't had in a long time, and maybe you're feeling like inexperienced and like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Or maybe, you know, you've been in a relationship with somebody for a long time, and there's been a very long established dynamic that has been at play for a while, and as you've changed, maybe the dynamic is changing as well. and that's something that you're working through. But for others, I could definitely see this as this may not have anything to do with relationships, just because there's so much heart chakra energy and like cosmic energy. That's kind of what leads me to that, especially because you are seeing yourself in a more accurate light. Or at the very least, you're pursuing this clarity. So like maybe for some of you, you're not at the point where you have self-actualized or self-actualized to a degree that you are satisfied with, but maybe you're in that process now, and the things that the universe is pushing you to do to self-actualize is what's holding you back because you're feeling like you couldn't do that or you're feeling uncomfortable. But whatever this thing is, it's so powerful that it will override whatever you've been programmed to traditionally believe or think. And Spirit actually wants me to use an example for this. So like I'm going to use myself because I don't want to use a random person or like somebody else's life. When I first started reading tarot cards, or when I first started doing tarot, that was the first time I had ever done something where I was like, I literally don't care what other people think of me doing this, because I love this so much that if the people in my life are not supportive of me doing something, or someone, which that could be your case, that makes me so happy, then they're probably not meant to be in my life anyway. And I really wasn't very like spiritually aware at that point. So I think this is kind of this energy that you're in where you do have a deep spiritual self. Like you are very much spiritually aware. But I think that what you're doing now, it's kind of similar to pile 2. You may want to look at pile 2 if you feel drawn to it, but kind of in different ways. Not super similar. This is definitely different, but it kind of seems like you're learning how to be what you know, and you're also learning a new way of being, and it's challenging your beliefs. And when it comes to this ignorance card, you may be feeling like foolish, or feeling like you need to know more before you take action, or you need to know more before you make a move or do something. But I think what Spirit is saying is that a beginner's mindset is all you need. I think one thing that you're afraid of is, like, if you show up in the world in a more loving and compassionate way, you may be afraid of how people treat you because of that. You may be afraid that like you're disempowering yourself or you're showing weakness. But I just heard a Michael Scott quote in my head from The Office that says, like, I want people to be afraid of how much they love me, because it was talking about how, you know, leaders either need to be like loved or feared, and Michael says that he wants the people that he leads to be afraid of how much they love him. And so I think that Spirit is saying that you may be afraid that by acting in loving ways towards others, acting in compassionate ways, like you may look weak or you may look stupid, like especially if you realize that you should be taking the high road in situations, or you don't want to stoop to other people's levels, but you may feel like if you're kind to others, then it's like showing weakness. But I think Spirit's saying that that's actually showing strength. And I think people are honestly disarmed by genuine love and kindness from other people. And I think Spirit's saying that you'll be surprised at how much power you hold when you come forward to people and to situations in a very loving and compassionate way. It will help you approach things in a way that has less pressure. And I think it will also help you realize that when you do things out of love, you can never lose. And I think one thing that you may be afraid of is, like, if you give your love to another person, does that mean you're losing your power? And Spirit's saying, no, like, you are yourself, you are sovereign, you are whole. Nobody can take that from you. And when you give love to somebody, you should be giving love to somebody or something, because that's what you genuinely feel, and that's what you want to do, not because there's some expectation of receiving. And somebody who is going to show up in an authentic way is going to be similar. So they're not going to place expectations on you that you have to give. What Spirit is saying is that you're aligning with someone. Also, sorry if you're distracted, like if you're like, what the fuck is on her nail? I accidentally set it on fire. So it's burnt and melted kind of. But I think you're awakening to a lot of truths about where you're headed, what you want, what you desire, and your heart is confirming that for you. And I think your heart is ready to be open. It's ready to be open to something or someone new, or to be open to a new way of being within a pre-existing relationship. And the only reason that you've gotten to this point is because you have worked so hard to understand yourself, and you've given yourself the room and the freedom to figure out who you are and to find more clarity. And so that's what's happening now. And I think one thing that Spirit's saying is that maybe you manifested this stuff, and now that your manifestations are here and it's time for you to take control of them, maybe you're very afraid of that. You're afraid of the success. You're afraid of the good things. Like, success can be scary, and opening yourself up can be scary. Being vulnerable can be scary. But you have awakened to an inner truth. And I also think that you've been divinely guided to this point. And I do think that there is a lot of cosmic and spiritual energy around either your love life, or just because if you don't have it, if this has nothing to do with love, then I think that it has everything to do with a creative pursuit or activity that you love so much that it's like a big part of your purpose. But I think part of what you've been learning is that like another person can't complete you. Another person can't make you happy. And it's like, because you've been finding your bliss within, it's like everything's just aligning and everything's connecting, and you're seeing color now. You're recognizing that that truths can coexist, that this and that can both be true, that you can be compassionate but still hold your boundaries. You can be empathetic without sacrificing your needs. You can be open and loving but still protect yourself. Like, you know what I mean? I think you're reaching this really beautiful internal state where you're recognizing that you are love. It's not that you need to seek it or that you need to embody it or be it. It's just what you are, and you can pull more love in from the universe. You can get more love from your angels anytime you want, and you just have so much love to give. Like, there's so many hearts and rainbows everywhere. And like, I think Spirit is saying, like, your life is not meant to be bleak forever. And we're trying to awaken you to this truth that life can be lived differently than how you have been living it. And we know you know that, but we want you to not be afraid of that. Like, you're seeing clearly, you're seeing your truth, you're seeing what you need to go towards. And we're not giving you these wonderful things, these wonderful blessings to rip them away. We're giving you these things for you to experience them, for you to just have the experience, for you to self-actualize a little bit more, and to connect with others that do the same. I think Spirit in general is trying to align you with other people and places and situations and experiences that are going to just further add to this beautiful self-actualizing energy you already have going on. And Spirit's literally confirming with this earthworm that you're new to this. You're new to feeling into your truth. You're new to following what feels good, what feels right. And I love that, like, the worm just looks like a bendy version of this power card. But I think what Spirit is saying is that you still have tons of power, even if you are in foreign territory, even if you are unsure of where you are going. Spirit is saying it's okay to not know what the next step is. It's okay not to know where you're headed next. Just ask your heart what it wants, and it will lead you to the right destination. Because I think that you've been doing a lot of heart healing and a lot of developing in that area. And I think that you are ready to follow whatever it is that it's trying to get your attention to. So let's go ahead and see what your higher self is going to come through and say, because a lot of this I feel like you already know. It's just that you need reminders of it. And I also think that you need to know that you hold more power than you think you do. But we're going to start by shuffling your tarot, and then we will clarify with Miss Megadeck. I'm sure I'll say it in the intro, but Megadeck this time is made up of the Work Your Light Oracle and the Starseed Oracle, both by Rebecca Campbell. But if you are unfamiliar with Megadeck, she started in one of my other This Message Was Meant to Find You readings. I think I've done Megadeck like twice, so I think this is the third time Megadeck has made an appearance on my channel. But Megadeck is always made of like different decks, because that's what makes Megadeck unique and fun. She is so mega, you cannot confine her to specific card types. But okay, so let's go ahead and see, Spirit, what does pile 3's higher self want to say? Okay, yeah, Page of Cups. Yeah, this makes sense. The 10 of Wands. We have Judgment here. We have the Queen of Swords in reverse. Okay, I just want to say, I just heard a voice in my head say, nobody will ever love you. Like, are you kidding? Like, that's so stupid. And I just want to say, if somebody said something like that to you, not only are they wrong, but I wish that I could verbally accost them for saying something like that, because it just goes to show that whoever said that to you does not believe that they are lovable and is taking out that fear and that energy. They're taking that out on you. Yeah, 5 of Swords. Oh my God. And on the back of the deck, we have the 3 of Cups. The biggest thing that your higher self is saying just right off the bat is that you deserve to feel joy and you deserve to feel good. And whatever brings you that, you should be allowed to do. Even if the people around you think that that is stupid, or some of you may have some ignorant people around you that are not willing to see you as an individual that is evolving. You might be finding that some people just can't change their mentality, or just are unwilling to see you as something other than one version of yourself. I'm not even done shuffling yet, and Spirit's already wanting to meet. Yeah, look at that. Spontaneous awakening, activation, integration time. It's literally like you're activating and integrating new energies. This is such an awesome energy to be in, but I understand why it is like literally terrifying and you're like, shit, what's going on? So Megadeck, can you clarify the Page of Cups, please? Haha! Look who wanted to come out anyway. So with the 10 of Wands, we have Pleiades, channeling and uplifting humanity. That also came out in pile 2. Let's see, what else? Clarify Judgment, please. We have deep replenishment, retreat, rest, be held. How about the Queen of Swords in reverse? You're not alone, isolation, physical connection, community. Yeah, actually, this is the funny thing about Megadeck, is that even though I shuffle the shit out of Megadeck and I clear Megadeck's energy, Megadeck always comes through with similar cards in certain piles. So pile 2 could be significant to you guys. But how about the 5 of Swords, Spirit? Can you clarify the 5 of Swords, please? We have baby steps, action, follow your intuition before it makes sense. And on the back of the deck, we have the weight of the world, boundaries, let it go. It's not yours to carry. And I think that this is definitely contributing to this 10 of Wands energy. Oh, and look what's popping out too is align your life. What is not aligned or needs to change. So one thing that you need to know is that happiness and contentment and satisfaction is always a sign that you're on the right path. So if you don't feel those things, that's usually a good sign that something's up. But I actually want to switch these because I heard someone say that, And then well, no, first I was like, I like when it's pink and then white and then pink and then white. I like the pattern. But then I heard a voice say, actually, those do need to be switched. And I'm like, okay, bet. So when it comes to the Page of Cups, this, for example, could be somebody awakening to how they feel about you. So somebody could be coming in or already has come in that is interested in you, and maybe you're interested in them and you're like, oh shit, I'm interested in them. That's really scary. Like, I care about this person. I don't want anything bad to happen. I don't want to be rejected by them. Like, things like that. But Spirit's asking you not to take this too seriously quite yet. Just be open to it. It's time to just integrate new energies. You don't, like, there's no finish line you need to be at. Spirit's just asking you to be playful and open to whatever your heart leads you to, wherever your heart leads you to, and to not take things too seriously until allow things to be, rather than placing or projecting expectations or looking at the potential of what could be. I think Spirit is asking you to look at what is and come from that place of what is, not what could be. With the 10 of Wands here, I feel like you could be feeling immense pressure to please or approve other people, or immense pressure to break out of habits or break away from people that are no longer serving you. Because with this Pleiades card here, double mission, channeling and uplifting humanity, I think that one thing maybe holding you back right now is like you're not able to uplift yourself because you're burdened with things that are not even, with issues that are not even yours to carry. So like boundaries, let it go. It's not yours to carry. I think that you've been really working on setting boundaries with others. I just saw the Soul Tribe coming out, so that could be something that you are getting ready for, is a great gathering of other souls. You could be meeting soul family or reuniting with soul family soon, which, like, truthfully, when it comes to meeting soul family, you're technically just reuniting with them. You're meeting for the first time in the 3D, even though we already know each other. But I think that you have worked through a lot of pain, a lot of like inner turmoil that you've been carrying, and you've come out on the other side with a much more enlightened and blissful perspective. But I think that there are still habits that you have from this old way of living that you have yet to fully let go of. Like, for example, if you have friends where there's been a pre-established dynamic, like maybe you're afraid of changing that, or maybe you're afraid of being honest about something that it is that you want, or something that it is you want to pursue, and maybe you're afraid of what the people around you will think. But I think that Spirit is really saying these burdens are not yours to carry, and in fact everything that you're doing right now is a part of your mission. You could be a Pleiadian starseed or resonate with starseed energies. You don't have to though, but I do think that part of your purpose here on earth is to uplift yourself and channel this divine information that you're receiving about yourself, and do something good with it, whether it's doing someone else and creating another human being, and that human being does something that changes the world, or making art, or creating something, or inventing something. It's like part of your purpose is to follow what fulfills you, because you have a divine purpose that involves you changing the game in some way. And it doesn't have to be on a global scale. It could just be for the people in your immediate family. It could just be for the people in your life, or your town, or your province, or your state, or your country. But I think that there's a lot of like burdens that you're ready to let go of, a lot of weights that you're ready to release. And I think that you're in the process of doing that now. I think just what's maybe scary is how other people might deal with it, and how other people might react towards you. And maybe there's just a lot of fear about how other people will respond to you, and Spirit's literally saying, let it go. Like, that's not your burden to carry. You're not responsible for how other people see you. You're only responsible for making yourself happy and fulfilled and do what feels right to you, not what feels right to a group. With the Judgment card here, I think that you have been awakened to truths about yourself, about your mission, about a divine path that you know is meant for you. And I think one thing that you're realizing is that the universe never abandoned you. It's always been there. And I think one thing that you're also realizing is that there is so much more to this world than you once thought. And I think maybe the people that are having a hard time reaching your level, just in terms of perspective, are reacting negatively towards you. And it's also forcing you to have realizations that maybe you are more isolated within an old community or a current community that you're a part of. And that maybe Spirit is not trying to isolate you from people, but maybe trying to isolate you from people who do not have your best interests at heart, or maybe are kind of jealous of you. I think one thing that Spirit is saying, anybody that gives you the silent treatment is somebody that you want to pay attention to the red flags there. They may not have your best interests at heart. But also I think Spirit is saying, like, we're not taking people out of your life because you need to be alone. We're taking people out of your life to make room for wonderful people to come in. And one thing that I'm seeing here is that there's someone from your past, likely a feminine figure. This could have been an ex, a mother, a sister, an aunt, a grandparent. No matter what, I mean, they don't necessarily have to identify as a woman, but they do have a predominantly feminine energy. But I do think that this person was somebody that you loved, or you do still love. I think it's going to depend on the relation to them. But from what I can tell, this person's influence is a part of your past. So I do think if it's a family member, it's likely that you probably don't talk to them anymore. You probably love them from afar. But for a lot of you, I feel like this Queen of Swords could be an ex in general. Doesn't matter like what their gender is or anything like that. But with the Queen of Swords, I do think when it comes to this person's heart, they were probably very manipulative and insecure, and probably said and did things to get reactions out of you and what you wanted. It just kind of seems like there's definitely, whoever this past person was, whether it was a friend, a family member, or a romantic partner, because I could also see this being like an ex-friend that you were close to. It seems like you've had to do a lot of healing from that, because I think that this person would tell you all the time how much they loved you and how they would do anything for you. But I think one thing that Spirit is saying is that this person didn't understand what love is. Like, and they do not love themselves, and they do not have the capabilities of showing up in an authentic place. And I think one thing that Spirit is saying is to not compare people in your present and future to those who treated you poorly in the past. Give everyone the opportunity to show you who they are, rather than placing expectations on who somebody will be, or making guesses. But I also feel like this person said things to you that weren't true, like that you weren't lovable, or that you'll never find somebody as good as them, or that nobody could ever love you the way they could, or nobody could ever be for you what they were for you. And it's like, nah, this person just had an incredibly inflated ego, an incredibly inflated sense of self-importance. And I think one thing that you've realized is that they never really saw you. I think that they loved you in the way that they know how to love, but they don't really know how to love in very authentic ways. And I think that this is a very shallow and insecure person, and unfortunately, I think that they projected a lot of their insecurities onto you, and out of their own abandonment fears may have created a self-fulfilling prophecy where they literally drove you away. But with this deep replenishment card here, I think that Spirit is saying that you are allowed and have permission to take all the time and space you need to heal from this. And I think one thing that Spirit's saying is that you don't necessarily have to be fully healed from this before you get into something else. And I don't mean that in like a, obviously if there's like wounds and feelings, and if you feel like you can't show up for someone else in an authentic way, then I would say maybe it's not a good idea. Maybe it's a good idea to wait and continue healing that before you open yourself up again. But I think that Spirit is saying the healing that you have done around this situation has already been impactful, and that you're allowed to do as much healing as you need in order to feel safer. But when it comes to your love life, especially if this is an ex or something like that, I think Spirit is saying that sometimes these wounds take time to heal. And if you feel like you're ready to begin a new relationship, or are already in the process of starting a new relationship, or are in a new relationship, and you have wounds showing up from this past relationship, one, I think it's important to express those to the person if you feel comfortable, but also recognize that like these things just may not disappear in a snap, and like it may take a lot of time for you to fully overcome some of these wounds. But I think Spirit is saying that, one, you deserve to take all the time you need in order to heal from things. Don't pressure yourself to like rush into something or match somebody else's expectations of what they want you to do. Do things on your own time. But also, like, if you feel ready to start something new with someone, if you feel ready to try something different, don't allow your fear of it turning into a similar situation as this to stop you from pursuing something else. Because honestly, that's low-key what this person wants. They want you to think that you're not ready for someone else. I don't like their energy, if I'm gonna be completely honest. I think that they have kind of a snaky energy, and I think that unfortunately, like, they can't hold love and space for you the same way you can hold love and space for them. Like, authentically loving someone means that you want them to be happy no matter what. But like, this is the type of person who would not want you to be happy if it's not happiness with them. You know what I mean? It's all about like them affirming their own ego and affirming like what they believe. And maybe for some of you, if you're with this person now, maybe that's what you're working towards getting out of that. And maybe you're afraid of breaking away from a connection like this. But I think one thing that you need to know is that, like, one, if you need resources and help, please seek that. But also, like, this person is full of shit, and a lot of what they say is full of shit. And the reason they say those things is because they feel like shit about themselves, and they don't feel good, and so they project their own shit onto other people, and instead of working on themselves, like to play mind games and pretend like their own problems don't exist and pretend like they're perfect, but they're not. And so I think that one thing Spirit is saying is that the process of healing from this, especially if it was particularly intense or occurred over a long period of time, Spirit is really saying, you know, you deserve to take all the time you need and get all the help that you need to heal from that. But also, like, you don't need to be fully healed. If you feel ready for something and you're worried that you're not healed enough or that you're not ready, just know that that may be more so a fear than anything. And if you feel in your heart the time is right to do something, to pursue something, trust that. But I also think that this doesn't necessarily have to extend to relationships. This could be like a friend that always spoke down to you, or a parent that was always like, you know, saying that you need to be practical or not understanding things. But I do think no matter what, there is a need to heal from other people's words and other people's beliefs, and recognize that their truth does not have to be yours. And in fact, yeah, it's not yours to carry. You don't have to carry their truth. It's okay if they think that you can't succeed, or that it's okay if they think that you'll never find love with someone else. Like, that's them. Like, they can have that rotten mindset all they want, but you don't have to, and you don't have to align with that. And I think with the Five of Swords here, Spirit is saying, you know, to trust what your intuition is saying, not only about your next steps, but about people as well. With this Five of Swords energy here, Spirit may be saying that trusting your intuition before you have good, solid reasons for something may just prevent you getting stuck in situations that you don't want to be in the long run, if that makes sense. But with this Three of Cups here, oh, and the Six of Cups, I think that Spirit's saying that you really deserve to be happy. And not only that, I do think that there is, for some of you, a soulmate of some kind. You could already be with them, you could be talking to them, or you could be meeting them or something like that, where you're only going to align when you're in this energy of allowing yourself to find joy, when you're in this energy of actualizing. And one thing that I love is that we do have all this rainbow energy. And so it's like whoever is coming in, or whoever you're aligning with, they're going to have a similar energy to you. And you might find that, like, and it may not be a person, like I said, it could be someone else, or it could be something. It could be something that you enjoyed in childhood. But no matter what it is, your higher self is coming through to say that you deserve to honor what makes you feel joyful. You deserve to honor what helps you connect to yourself. And you deserve to follow the things that are joyful and uplifting. And you deserve to celebrate how far you've come. And I think with the Five of Swords here, you know, don't expect everyone to be happy for you when life is going well. And you may come to realize that there are people that are not happy for you, or that cannot support you, that you may have to kind of distance yourself from. But if you meet new people and you get bad vibes from them, or you just feel like you shouldn't spend too much time or energy with them, trust that shit. Trust what you pick up about people, because you're more intuitive than you realize, and you have a much stronger intuitive awareness than you once did. And so look for similar energies that past people that treated you poorly had. Like, I think Spirit is saying that anyone or anything that does not spark joy for you does not need to be there if you can control it. Everything that is within your control that does not spark joy does not need to be there. Obviously, there are tons of things in our life that we can't control that does not spark joy, but what Spirit is really saying to you is that you deserve to follow your heart, follow what your heart wants, and be around like-minded and supportive individuals that want what's best for you, not people that are going to be jealous of what you're doing, or tear you down, or judge what you're doing simply because they don't understand it, or they feel insecure about the fact that they don't feel as far along in their path as you are. But we're going to finish off with some channeled messages from your higher self now. So let's go ahead and see. Spirit, what does pile 3's higher self want to say to pile 3? So your greatest challenges are your biggest blessings. Don't give up before the magic happens. You are leveling up. Yeah, this is basically everything that I was saying. And it's safe to relax because the universe has your back. Your divine purpose is to enjoy your life. Yeah, exactly what I was saying. And you may have felt like you needed to suffer in order to be deserving of good things. Like you have to work hard, or you have to, you know, grind or whatever. And maybe you're realizing now that, oh, maybe the universe just wants me to do what feels good and give myself space and room to be free. And wow, I think that this... Oh no, this didn't. This isn't a different card. Free to fly. The past is behind you. No road takes you back. Give thanks for all you've learned and spread your wings. Yeah, Spirit's really saying, like, you're moving on up, kid. You know, you're doing big things. We're real proud of you. And we have all is temporary. It's okay not to feel your best. Like the moon, we go through phases. Give yourself time to get your groove back. This too will pass. And so I did want to say as well, you know, if you suffer periods of having a really negative mindset that holds you back, that's a definite sign of when maybe you want to scale back and do some self-care and give yourself a break and just do things that make you happy, because that will help you realign with the energy of love. But on the back of the deck, we have return to self. Come home to you, give to yourself, be your own first priority. It's time to fall in love with you and embrace change. You've outgrown your comfort zone, time to explore new possibilities. And so because I love that we're starting and ending with the self, but with return to self, Spirit is saying that you really could not go wrong when you do things out of love for yourself. Because you can truly authentically fall in love with someone when you fall in love with yourself. And falling in love with yourself, you know, is a process. It's really not the same thing as falling in love with somebody else, but I feel like you've been going through this process. You're starting to see yourself. And so Spirit's saying, you know, as long as you remain your own first priority, there will be no relationship that's like too unhealthy. Like when you have healthy boundaries, when you love yourself, you'll be able to recognize toxic people, toxic behaviors, people that are not in alignment with your growth, and you will have the free will to say no, to say, I don't want you to be part of my life, or I don't want to continue this. And the people that are right for you will feel like home. You will feel safe, and you will feel uplifted. You will feel like they get you, they support you. And I think Spirit is saying that anytime you don't feel that way, it's time to return to yourself and be your own first priority, because especially if you are pursuing a new relationship, it's important to not get lost in that, and remember that you are your own biggest priority, and that, you know, a romantic interest or friends are not the people that complete us. We complete us. So pile 3, I hope this reading made sense, and I hope that it resonated. I'm gonna pull this card out because it feels significant, and it says, accept. It is what it is. Healing occurs naturally with acceptance. Make peace with what is. The only way out is through. So yeah, I think that's what Spirit is saying. But I'm going to leave this reading here. I really hope this resonated because it felt very discombobulated, but I know that's because I kind of black out during readings and I just am basically fed words. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I really hope that this reading resonated. And also, thank you so much for watching my ads. That is the simplest and easiest way to support me. But if you would like to support me in other ways, you can like this video, you can comment down below, let me know how it resonates. You can subscribe if you haven't already. You can check out my social media, which is linked below, but do be aware that there are a lot of scammers pretending to be me. So if it's not linked below, it's not mine. I don't have a backup account. I don't have... I'm not offering personal readings at this time, you know, so on and so forth. And I also have merch if you want to check that out as well. But thank you so much for letting me channel your energy and for letting your higher self come through. I really hope that this reading helped you. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this reading, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye. Hi there, pile 4. Thank you so much for being here. If you chose the Opalite Pikachu, so Bulbasaur, I'm gonna need you to move. And the Ascension Tarot, this is going to be your reading. But to make sure that this truly is your reading first, we are going to go ahead and look at your current energies. So if this sounds like you, congrats, you found the right pile. If it doesn't, I would either try a different pile, or there may just not be a message here for you, which is totally okay. But we're gonna go ahead and start with your general energy. So to start, we have the Eternal Child, and we have the solar plexus chakra, which is right here, and it's talking about determination. And then your outward energy to start is Fortune, Ascension, Crocodile, and Gifts from the Past. And then your internal energy is the Lizard. I like that you got both. There's cohesion here, which I like. We have the Door to Value. We have Transformation, which this is, interestingly, this is actually the solar plexus chakra in this deck, and this is the root chakra. But we also have Party Leader. So, can I just say, like, first of all, how proud your guides are of you, and your higher self, but like your guides especially, and your ancestors. Your ancestors we have to talk about. Some of you may have Russian ancestry or Russian lineage of some kind, or just like that area. I just heard like Balkan Peninsula and Ukraine, like Bulgaria, like I'm bad at geography, but like that kind of area, Eastern European, it's kind of like the vibe that I'm getting. Anyway, they don't have to be that type. The song Rasputin was like playing over and over and over, and that's why I was getting a lot of that energy. Anyway, you have come so far, and it hasn't been easy for you. Like with this determination card here, you know, I think you've been knocked down 6 times and you've gotten up 7. You know what I mean? Like you just seem to be swimming past any challenge that truly comes your way. But you may be struggling right now with the changes and transitions you're going through. From what it looks like, it seems like you're, oh my God, I didn't even realize you picked the Ascension Tarot, and you literally have the Ascension card here. You're evolving, that's for sure. And this Ascension could be something like maybe you're ascending in a career. You could just be ascending spiritually for some. For others, this Ascension could have to do with like a coming of age sort of thing. Like maybe you're doing something that has a rite of passage attached to it, like doing your first like thing of a family event, or like you're ascending to a higher level of responsibility and a higher level of commitment to self is the vibe that I'm getting. And you're coming into a lot of money if you already haven't. I think a lot of what this has to do surrounds your career, if I'm being honest. But this doesn't have to entirely. But what I feel like for a lot of you is that your career is something that is not easy, or what you're trying to pursue is something that is not easy. It either requires a lot of time of like studying, or it requires just a lot of investment in general. But I think that you are maturing and you're growing. And there's definitely a part of you that's like afraid that you're going to lose the fun parts of yourself, the fun aspects of yourself. And I think one of the biggest reasons why you were drawn to this reading today is to know that those parts of you are not going anywhere. But you may want to pay attention to where maybe you're not taking full responsibility or not changing your behavior because you're afraid if you do that you'll become lame, or you won't have fun anymore. I think you're transforming in a way that you know is necessary, but deep down you don't really like. For a lot of you, you could be like experiencing the need to isolate for the first time. Like maybe if you're a traditionally extroverted person, or you do like to go out and socialize a lot, or you do like to be a life of the party, that won't be for all of you. But whatever you find typically fun and energizing, even if this party is just a Mario party, you know, whatever it may be, like for some of you, you could be like a dungeon master or something like that. But you also could have become attached to like an identity you created for yourself, like around partying or around being like a leader of a certain group. And you probably got a lot of satisfaction from that, but it kind of seems like you're not gaining satisfaction from it anymore. And around the same time, or if you still do, it's not at the same degree as it once was. Like it doesn't satisfy you the way it once did. But also, what we have going on here as well is this energy of you're going through changes and you're not really sure how to feel about them, because life is aligning for you in a way where you're reaping benefits materially and just in the physical that you didn't have before. But it's coming at the cost of change, and you see yourself naturally changing to kind of align with this ascending version of yourself. And as a result, there could be a lot of discomfort around that, or just you could be pretty exhausted right now, or you could just be like feeling really bittersweet about all of this because you're afraid maybe that the more you pursue this path or go down this path, maybe the more you'll lose fun or joy. But at the same time, it's like you're way too invested in your goals to give up on them. And now that you're starting to reap the benefits of all the hard work you've been doing, it's like you're not going to stop now. But I do think that maybe you're too worried about this process. Like with this being the number 4, that Aries energy could be significant here. The solar plexus chakra also has to do with fire, and we do have fire energy here. So Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius energy could be significant. We also have water here, so Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces could be significant as well. But from what I can see on the outside, it's kind of like you're being very patient with this whole process. But you're still kind of, I feel like, panicking internally about where you're headed and what you're doing. Despite like how hard you work and how much you've been doing to like overcome your challenges and difficulties, it's like the more you overcome them, the more you check boxes in pursuing these goals and reaping the benefits of them. I think you're centering around the awareness that life is changing. What you once found fulfilling is changing. Your needs are different, or your needs are becoming different. Your body is changing for some of you. Well, I guess our bodies are always changing, like no matter what, you know, we're in a constant state of evolution, but your mentality is changing. Your sensitivity to energy is something changing as well. I think you are becoming far more sensitive to energy than you once were. I think that you're, as you're ascending, your psychic abilities and like your your intuitive senses are strengthening as well. And so you're probably needing to take more time to like rest and retreat. But this may also be a good opportunity for you to connect with your inner child. Like maybe you're rewatching shows that give you nostalgia, or movies, or reading books, listening to music, just doing things that bring you back to your childhood. But from what I can tell here, it's kind of like on the outside, you seem very calm, cool, and collected. You're kind of still waiting for the fruits of your labor to fully pay off, but you're starting to reap the benefits of all the hard work you've been doing in the physical. And you're starting to see how valuable this path you're pursuing truly is. But with this gifts from the past here, for some of you, there may be like people coming in from the past, and I feel like I heard a collective groan. And so Spirit may be bringing these people back in briefly just for you to see that you're evolved beyond them. But for some of you, if somebody comes back in and you feel more connected or aligned with them, it may be a sign that the reason why things didn't work out in the past was because you weren't in alignment then, and maybe through growth and improvement you are now. But I think this has more so to do with your ancestors, and the fact that your ancestors are helping you with this ascension process, and also sending you blessings, sending you ideas, sending you opportunities, sending you signs, sending you signals. And your ancestors just have a lot of pride for how far you've come. You're breaking a lot of generational cycles and generational patterns. And I think really just the most difficult thing right now is you're overcoming limitations and challenges in the physical world, but you're also overcoming those sorts of things in your internal world as well. And I do think that it may be your ego more than your true self, but I think your ego was probably very attached to your former identity, or the identity that you're letting go of. And so it's kind of hard for these two parts of yourself, the part of yourself that's ready to let go of these old identities, and the part of you that feels safe with them, or maybe feels like, no, does this mean that I'm getting old now? Does this mean that like life's over for me, that life isn't gonna be fun? And let me tell you something, buddy. Age is just a number, and like youthfulness is an eternal thing. Like the belief that your life ends at like 30 is just so fucking stupid and ridiculous. Like I can't even experience that. And like anyone can have childlike energy, and children can have like old people energy. You know what I mean? Like your ability to be young and to stay young, that's an attitude and an energy. It's not how you physically look or what you're doing. Like, yes, as you get older, you have more responsibilities and you have more things placed on your plate. And that's because, you know, you're one of the more experienced humans. And, you know, as we get older, there are less and less people that are older than us that can guide us. And so we naturally become the elders when we were once children. But, you know, that's just the natural part of life. And I think one thing that you're kind of realizing, or maybe learning through this reading, is that your spirit is eternal and youthful. And as long as you remain true to that, you can't lose your inner flame. You can't lose your inner child. You can't lose that inner thing that makes life fun. But what you may be finding out or discovering is that the things that brought you that carefree fun may not be the same things forever. That in fact, maybe what is changing is not what makes you happy. Well, wait, how are you wording that? So Spirit is saying you may be thinking there's something wrong with you because the things that typically bring you joy are no longer bringing you the same amount of fulfillment. Like they just don't quite hit the same anymore. And Spirit's saying there's nothing wrong with you. It doesn't mean that you're getting old. It just means that your preferences are changing, and what fulfills you with that energy is changing. And I also think that maybe your needs and your lifestyle is changing, especially now that you may be coming into more money, or your work schedule may be different, or you may have a lot more responsibility placed upon your shoulders. But you're growing and evolving. I don't know why, but I just heard the Postman song, like the Vine. Oh yeah, wait a minute, Mr. Postman. And then, you know, the end part. I don't know why that's relevant, but connection with others and connecting to yourself it has nothing to do with your physicality. It's all a spirit thing. And I think that Spirit is saying that to not be afraid of all the beautiful, valuable things coming to you, because this is just the beginning. And the transformation that you're going through now is not only going to bring you more fulfillment, but it's also going to allow parts of yourself that maybe you didn't pay attention to before to come through and to bring you a more full experience of being as a human. And also, I think that these new parts of yourself that you're opening up to, or transforming into, are also making way for the opportunity to create more abundance. And so, you know, with 31 here, kind of similar to that 4 energy, because 31 in numerology would reduce to 4. And it just makes me think of the energy with like the Empress and the Magician. Like you're allowing, like you're creating, but also, you know, manifesting with spiritual power. There's like a masculine spiritual energy and a feminine creation energy, earthly creation energy coming in. So it's like you're nurturing and birthing creations, maybe literally, but I think for the vast majority of you, metaphorically, that you cultivate through a spiritual, this like spiritual power that you've been cultivating for yourself. And the thing is that you may not be tapped into the spiritual side, but know that there is a spiritual nature to how you're evolving and where you're going. And yeah, your guides, and especially your ancestors, are just so proud of you. So let's go ahead and see what your higher self wants to say to you about all these changes. I feel like I've already channeled some of that, so I may sound like a broken record at some points, but please remember that I'm only half here during readings. I'm basically like fed words, and I never remember shit that I say from my readings. So I apologize if I repeat things. But I also think there's a message from your guides to not feel shame about like having to repeat lessons, because if you're repeating a lesson, it's because you clearly didn't learn it the first time. And so don't feel shame for that. Just recognize that there was a need to integrate understanding of that particular experience more. But I think it's cool that you picked the Ascension Tarot and that Ascension Oracle card came out. I definitely think you're ascending and evolving, and it's really beautiful. So let's go ahead and see what your higher self wants to say to you. So pile 4's higher self. What do you want to say? Okay, so we have the Queen of Cups in reverse. We have the Star upright. We have the 5 of Wands and the 9 of Crystals in reverse. What else, Spirit? Okay, we also have, I'm going to trust that whichever way it comes out was the way that it was meant to. The Queen of Swords and the High Priestess in reverse. And on the back of the deck, we have the 6 of Pentacles, or the 6 of Crystals. Okay, so now I'm going to clarify these energies with Miss Megadeck. If you have never met Megadeck before, she always looks different because she's always made up of different cards, but I have used her in like 2 other readings. I think the first one was a This Message Was Meant to Find You video. I don't know what the other one I did was. Maybe it was another one similar to this. I don't know. I can't remember, if I'm being honest. These readings are like the same way studying for an exam is. Like, not that I'm studying though, so it's even like, I'm literally even less aware than I would be if I was studying. But it's like once the reading's over, all memory and knowledge of it is just gone. Like I don't remember what I said usually. Sometimes I remember specific things if they're like intense energies, but yeah, okay. Anyway, so Spirit and Megadeck, what and pile 4's higher self, what do you want to say to pile 4? I'm gonna take that one. We're gonna keep going. So we have I'm sorry, defenselessness, riding past wrongs, uprooting. We also have double mission, light worker, starseed, serve the world by being you. What else? Yeah, cracked open, rock bottom, surrender to the alchemy of life. So definitely, like, these challenges that you've been experiencing have been happening for you, not to you. We also have earth pulsing, pulse of the mother, slow down, time in nature. Yeah, I think time in nature could be especially helpful to your creative abilities. We also have forge, don't follow, pave a new path, be the leader you wish you had. And on the back of the deck, we have whale and orca elders. Share your song, frequency of sound, diving deep. So this further confirms to me that you have ancestors coming through to you. One stone you may want to look into is orca agate. I have some of it right here. I have a big orca agate flame, but I mean, you can get it in smaller versions. I just have this big guy right here. But yeah, there's a lot of spiritual energy around you. And one thing that I want to mention is that literally all of your cards were starseed cards. You didn't get any of the work your light cards with this back because they have the white bottom. So you could resonate with starseed energy or something like that, or you could just feel like you're not really part of this earth. But I do think that this Queen of Cups in reverse is related to this I'm sorry. Defenselessness, riding past wrongs, uprooting. Maybe in the process of your transformation, there's somebody that you hurt, or maybe through this process of transformation, you've realized that maybe you did hurt somebody, or you could have hurt yourself. You could have hurt your heart, or hurt someone you really care about. And I think your higher self is encouraging you to, if you feel called to, apologize or make peace with something. I think Spirit is really encouraging you to do that, to right any past wrongs. But like, if I will just say this, if you didn't do anything wrong, there's nothing you need to apologize for. So please don't come for my neck in the comments saying like, what do I need to apologize for? Like, I don't get that. Like, they're the ones that need to apologize to me. It's like, it's kind of defensive. And if you don't have anything to apologize for, then you don't need to apologize. Like, you don't need anyone to affirm that for you. Just, you'll know if a message is meant for you or not. Like, I cannot know all of your individual lives at in a general reading like this. I'm doing my best, okay? Man. But literally, okay, clarifying the fucking star, let's go into that. Oh, and one thing I wanted to mention is that this person that you may feel like you need to apologize to, or like right any past wrongs between the two of you, which, by the way, righting these past wrongs could be with yourself, could be with how you treated yourself, or what mistakes you've made or things like that. You may need to forgive yourself, and like maybe this other person has forgiven you and you just need to forgive yourself, or maybe you just are really hard on yourself and you need to forgive yourself for what you didn't know in the past. But I think that there are some things that you're ready to let go of and transform. I think that in order to heal something around a Queen of Cups figure, so this would be somebody very nurturing and compassionate towards you, whether it's a mother, mother, lover, friend, kind acquaintance. It's almost like you may be seeing a side to their perspective that you didn't see before because you have been evolving. But that's not going to be for everyone. But with the star card here, this is definitely confirming that you're here for a reason and that you're aligning with your purpose. I love how similar these two cards are, like even down to like the similarities of the star. I'm thinking of two movies. I'm thinking of The Princess and the Frog. I'm thinking of the star that the little lightning bug was in love with, and like that pretty much everybody in the movie references in some way, like praying to the stars, or asking the stars for help. You definitely have like Tiana energy, where you're a very, very hard worker. Maybe the thing that you have a difficult time doing is allowing the universe to fulfill wishes for you, trusting the universe to come through. You know what I mean? Because like Tiana, you know, she just worked and worked and worked and worked and worked and never gave herself time for fun and to like play, because she was so determined to you know, get her own restaurant and make her father proud. But, you know, she forgets that her father told her in the movie when she was a child to not lose sight of what's important. And even though her father never got the restaurant that he dreamed of, he had a family that he loved very, very much, and that was enough. And I think that Spirit is saying that the specific dream you have is not one that you need to carry, especially if you're killing yourself to get there. Determination is a wonderful thing, but you still need to be able to take care of yourself. And you serve the world by being you, by being yourself and doing what fulfills you. Your life is not meant to just be you working yourself to the bone. And I think that you may have this worry that if you're not constantly grinding and constantly working hard, that you're not going to be deserving of blessings. But I think that your guides and your ancestors, and some of them are star ancestors and some of them are earth ancestors, by the way. Well, the fact that you've incarnated even once on a human on earth means that you have human ancestors. Like, all of us have human ancestors because it takes ancestors to incarnate us. But these human ancestors may be newer, so you may not have had them before this lifetime. But and that's not for all of you, it's just for some of you. But anyway, I definitely think that part of your reason for being here is to spread more light and to add your unique perspective to the world through your inventions, your creations, your leadership skills. We have a lot about being a leader here. And I think there's real value in being a leader that's not only disciplined and mature, but also that has a childlike energy to them, that can connect with the youths of the world and can connect to fun energy and not lose sight of what's important. You know, I think Spirit is asking you to remember to not lose sight of what's important. I also am thinking of Peter Pan, because they both talk about like second stars. Actually, maybe it's just Peter Pan, but I know both of those movies, both Princess and the Frog and Peter Pan, have to do with stars. And in Peter Pan, to get to Neverland, it's like the second star to the right, and then you keep going or some shit like that. I haven't seen it in a long time. But you may believe that like your true happiness, your true dreams lie in like Neverland, or that they're impossible. And I think Spirit is saying that what you are desiring and dreaming for is entirely possible, but you don't need to kill yourself to get there. You know what I mean? You don't need to, and I don't mean that literally. And if you're ever considering something like that, please, tell someone your life is valuable and so worthy, and you have purpose being here. And even if that purpose is just living, like, you're here, you're valid, and we don't want you going anywhere. But I don't think that that's an energy. I just feel like I have to say that just in case. But with this is Aquarius energy, and there's a real humanitarian part to you. And I think that's why you came here. You literally came here to help enlighten and uplift humanity and serve the world by being yourself, by being different, by allowing different identities, different expressions of being to exist. And I think Spirit is saying, you work hard, you do a wonderful job, but you don't give yourself time to rest, and you have a hard time having hope. It's easy for you to get burnt out. And I think one thing that your higher self is saying is that with this energy, it's like maybe you finally stopped fighting Spirit. Like maybe you were really fighting like the lessons that they were trying to teach you, or maybe living a bit in denial about the changes that need to be made in order to get where you need to go. But your higher self is saying to trust where the present energies in your life are leading you, to stop fighting them and feeling like you have to do everything alone. Because one thing that I'm hearing is that there may be other people that want to help you, or maybe people that you want to ask for help, and you may be afraid of like being rejected for their help, or you may be just ashamed to even ask for help or admit that you need help. And I think that Spirit is saying that if you're denying yourself help, you're just denying yourself the opportunity to get where you need to go in an easier fashion, and that it's okay to ask for help in any way. But a lot of what you need to understand is that these rock bottoms you've hit are not something that is happening as a punishment. It's happening to you so that you can remove layers of yourself that no longer need to be there, and allow yourself to be who you're becoming instead of be who you've always been. And I think that your higher self is asking you to stop fighting this very singular identity that you've had for yourself. And if you're not fighting it, that's wonderful. There's just some of you that are. But it is important to note that your truth will always feel good. It will make you feel lighter. So if you feel like you're fighting something, if you feel like you're afraid of something, but what you're currently doing weighs on you and doesn't serve you, you may have to ask yourself if what you're fighting is inner peace, if you're literally preventing the changes that could create more inner peace or more understanding. But with the earth pulsing, pulse of the mother, slow down, time in nature, I think with this Queen of Swords, Queen of Cups energy as well, this could be talking about the fact that you maybe have to rationalize why you deserve something or why you're worthy of something, rather than recognizing that just because you exist, you're inherently worthy of it. And so I do think maybe time in nature, time just being in a slower, calmer place that is relaxing and nurturing, could be really helpful for you, and could also help you cut through any like thought patterns that you've gotten yourself stuck in because you're just so used to thinking in a certain way. But one thing that I noticed in both of these cards is that there's a waterfall. And I do think that there's just a lot that you could release in nature. Like I could just see someone being like out in the wilderness, like screaming, or like, you know, breaking branches that you find on the ground or something like that, just to like get out rage, you know what I mean? And in a harmless way, or like just get out your energy in a harmless way where nobody's going to see it. But I also think that you can talk to spirit out in nature. I think that you can communicate with spirit in nature. And truthfully, I think that you could be known as a bit of an ice queen or ice king. And I think that you're kind of going through the process of softening to your own feminine energies. And Spirit is really encouraging you to take time to nurture yourself, to care for yourself, because it's going to help you see how much more productive you are when you give yourself time to rest, and how much easier it is to want to work and find that motivation when you're not like constantly going. And with this Queen of Swords here, true rest is not, you could say, I allow myself to rest. I rest all the time. But true rest is not rest if you're just thinking about what you need to be doing and what you should be doing and making yourself feel guilty or feel like shit for what you're not doing already. So if every time you rest, you're thinking about what you need to be doing or what you should be doing, you're not truly resting, and you'd be surprised at how little you actually do rest, even if you think you rest. But finally, with the High Priestess in reverse and the Forge Don't Follow, pave a new path, be the leader you wish you had. Spirit is really telling you that you can trust yourself to navigate this path on your own. If there are any, like, if you do need to seek guidance, I think when it comes to seeking guidance, you should, like, on a personal level, with general readings, I mean, you can do this too. But when it comes to seeking guidance, I feel like Spirit is challenging you to decide what you intuitively feel like is the answer, and then seek out the answer externally and see how closely it matches to what you felt. And it's okay if it's different than what you felt. That doesn't mean that what you felt is right or wrong. That just means that Spirit will ask you to compare the information you're receiving with the information you intuitively feel, and ask yourself to process it through all your layers of perception, and ask yourself if there's anything useful in the things that you didn't come to, and if there's anything within the outside guidance that doesn't resonate with you and isn't useful, because that's an excellent example of what you can discard and don't need. But also Spirit is saying that you may be wanting to go about your path in a very pragmatic way. And Spirit's saying, no, you're not here to do what others have done before you. You're here to do something different, and you have to follow your own internal guidance and your own internal judgment to do that. And one thing that you need to be able to do is to tap into your heart space and see what your heart is saying, what your heart is guiding you to do, because your heart is like the gateway to the soul, essentially. And if you're fighting your emotional body, it's going to be a lot, or not tuning into your emotional body, it's going to be a lot harder for you to embrace following your intuition. But your higher self is saying that you have everything you need to be successful, and that you don't need to follow someone else's blueprint or path. No one else has the answers that you're seeking. Because truthfully, it's not an answer that you're seeking. It's like, well, the answer that you're seeking is the knowledge that everything will be okay, and that you'll figure it out. And let me tell you, everything will be okay and you will figure it out. But instead of having your journey ruined for you, you get the blessing of discovering it for yourself and forging this path. And I promise you, it's going to be so worth it. And it probably already is starting to be so worth it, just based on the abundance and the blessings that you've been receiving thus far from following this path. With the back of the deck, with the Six of Crystals, And the Whale and Orca Elders, share your song, frequency of sound, diving deep. You could get messages from your ancestors in songs. But I do think that you are getting some kind of gift or blessing from your ancestors in some way. Either they're orchestrating something. For some of you, there could be a new emotional beginning in something coming here. Whether you're currently, this could be an emotional beginning in like a friendship, or like with like a renewed sense of purpose with a passion, or with something you enjoy. This could be just a new beginning in general, a new emotional beginning where you feel like you're starting fresh and you can kind of let go of the emotional wounds of the past, whatever it may be. But you're definitely evolving and ascending to a new level of self. And while that's scary, just know that this change does not mean you're losing who you are. You're just evolving into who you need to be to continue your journey. And the less attachment you have to certain stages and phases of your life, the easier it will be to seamlessly transition. Because as long as you're allowing yourself to do what you enjoy and you know, following what feels right, what makes you happy, you know, and obviously not everything in the world is going to make us happy. Not everything is always going to feel 100% right, but the universe will show you in very concrete ways, and your emotional body and will show you in ways where what you're doing is right, because it will feel right. And here's the thing, it's not a feeling of an excitement, but a feeling of like, yes, this is it. It's much more calm. It's much more, the energy of like knowing you're in alignment and doing something right is not fleeting. It's like this deep, like rock solid anchored sense of like, yup, this is it. Like it's almost undeniable. And if you don't know maybe some of what that is yet, your answers might, your ancestors might be giving you answers, or might be giving you signs or guidance in the near future of steps to take, if you're not sure what your next step is. But also know that it's okay to like wait. If you don't know what your next move is, it's okay to wait until you figure it out, which I think is what a lot of you are doing right now. But we're gonna go ahead and finish off this reading with channeled messages from your higher self, to see what your higher self wants to say, which we do have this return to self, come home to you, give to yourself, be your own first priority. It's time to fall in love with you. So that could be for some of you. That came out in a different pile actually, but let's see. Spirit, what does pile 4's higher self want to say to pile 4 at this time? Dream it to life. See and feel what will soon be real. Take time to visualize the experience you want to have before any situation. I also am thinking of the phrase, like, whether you can or you can't, you're right. So, like, be careful of the limiting beliefs you create for yourself, because you may fully believe that something is off limits to you, and the only person that told you that it was off limits was yourself. And so your guys might be sitting here like, you can have that whenever you want. You just believe that you couldn't. But actually you can. We also have pause. Take a moment, close your eyes, relax your body, and just breathe slowly and deeply. So I do think there's something about like panicking or getting stuck in your head. Maybe just being more awareness, maybe being more aware of when your thoughts are getting the best of you, or when you're kind of allowing reality to escape you a little bit. I think those are the moments where you may want to practice just like breathing and like slowing down and kind of re-regulating yourself. We also have begin again. Today is a fresh start. Your path is clear to begin where you are. Yeah, stop defining yourself based upon your past. Like, you are not your past, and like nobody wants to be defined by their past self. And like anybody who's worth being in your life will give you the grace, like, because even if you have messed up and there's things you feel guilty about, or like people that you need to face that you feel like they'll never forgive you, I mean, you may be surprised. Like, you may be much harder on yourself than this person ever would be, and you may find out that maybe this person forgave you a long time ago, but because you couldn't forgive yourself, you couldn't move on from it. You know what I mean? There's a need to recognize where maybe you are putting yourself in kind of your own prison of limiting beliefs, and look at where maybe something isn't the objective truth, it's just the truth that you have claimed as yours, and there's always opportunities to reassess whether those truths still serve you or hold any validity. We also have lead by example, which is perfect for all this leadership energy. Yeah. I was seeing a spirit wanted me to take these others, and I'm going to take them. Lead by example. Don't react to how others have treated you. Choose who you want to be, and your world will transform. And I think that this is the beautiful thing that you have now, is that you're being given the opportunity to choose who you want to be, rather than to allow yourself to be defined by what other people want you to be. But we also have celebrate love. Your relationships are a divine blessing. Cherish your loved ones and say I love you often. We also have reflect on your strength. We forget how strong we are until we look back at all we overcome. You are resilient and your growth is forever. And then on the back of the deck, we have create your joy. Smile and laugh. You deserve to be happy for no reason. Take time to do what feels good. And we have dance, sing, play. The universe works fast when you're having fun. Yeah, the universe is really saying, like, you deserve to have more fun. And we have more here about, like, sharing your song and music. So, like, if you feel really connected to music, maybe that's something that you want to look into. Or another creative pursuit that you do just because it's fun. Oh my God, and what was on the top of the deck? The same return to self card. So I think Spirit's saying whenever you feel lost, whenever you feel unaligned, just return to what feels like you. And you really can't go wrong. So pile 4, I'm going to leave this reading here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for watching my ads. That is the simplest and easiest way to support me. But if you would like to support me in other ways, you can check out any other reading with an extended. You can check out my social media, which will be linked below, but do be aware that there are a lot of scammers impersonating me. You can like this video, you can comment down below, let me know how it resonates. You can subscribe if you haven't already. You can do nothing. You can do whatever you want. Oh yeah, but you can also check out my merch. But that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for letting me read your cards, and thank you so much to your higher self and your guides for coming through and allowing me to channel for you. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you are watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye!